Good evening and welcome to the Marcia Week Show. This is not Marcia, but this is the other M. Maxine McLean with you starting the program, and I'm honored to do so on behalf of Marcia, our regular host, and of course, Pastor Ferdinand. And let me start by welcoming all of those who join us as we have our devoted listeners or viewers of the program. But I think it is important for me as I sit here at the start of this show to really congratulate Dave and Marcia Weeks, because when I think of what they have to do to bring this program to you day after day, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4 days of the week. And we are almost at the end of this year, and this show was going on last year, this time, and before that. I really want to congratulate them on their tireless efforts to educate, to inform, to support Barbadians in need, to connect with Barbadians in the diaspora, and also engage the world, because that is no small task. And I am sure you would agree with me. I trust that I will be able to see those who are joining us and recognize them. I know normally you're able to, Marcia and Pastor Ferdinand often calls out the names of others, and we will recognize you as you come on, even if not at the beginning. And so I just want to, Joyanne, Faith, good evening to everyone. Like you, we see Matthew Canterbury is with us. And he said he wanted to find out if there was an opportunity to follow the march in St. Lucie today. And let me say quickly that I was unable to join folk because I was doing a bit of tourist supporting visitors. I received a call from a friend of mine in Ghana a couple of days ago to say that he had a friend who was visiting Barbados for the first time, and she was accompanied by some other friends who had actually come to Barbados before. But of course, my promise is that if you're coming to Barbados for the first time, I have to do all I can to make sure that you have a good time. So I was playing hostess, let me say, was trying to find the right word. And I think what that has said to me as we saw the folks go to St. Lucie to the march, Matthew Sainsbury is asking where he can find it, and I'm sure you will get some information a little later in the program. It just reminded me of two things. One, I was extolling the virtues of Barbados and showing the guest, especially the young lady, I would say my newfound friend, the beauty of Barbados. We are also challenged by what is happening in St. Lucie. I believe, unfortunately, there has been a concern raised on the south of the island. I have to peruse the newspaper and see if I can find it. But I think that we will probably be joined by Mr. John Knox later. I think it is what at Three Houses Park Spring. If I am wrong, I will be corrected. I will certainly look up the correct title. And I hopefully will be joined by Mr. Guy Murray for another of his very informative and educational sessions. So Matthew, hopefully we can get that information for you. And on a personal note, I want to thank Andrea Grant. Good evening to you. Good night. I hope you've had a restful Sunday and looking forward to a positive week. Same thing for Sandra Watkins. These are some of our dedicated viewers. And I must say, Doril, that you probably hear it. I am pleased wherever I go to be given messages, to be given to Marcia. There's Lemuel, of course, another dedicated one of our viewers. And I must thank you, because without you, this program would not be possible. It would not have the impact and the effect that it has, and I am sure it will continue to have. And I must say this, for those who are invited to present, and I tend not to focus on the negatives and detractors, but I must emphasize that a lot goes into the preparation of this show. And I was actually saying to somebody recently that I can tell you that if there's an issue and there is need for evidential verification, Marcia and Dave will venture to that place. So they will not come and tell you about issues unless they are able to say, we have verified that this is an issue, whether by being able to visit, speak to people directly affected. So those are important things. And we will get to the national anthem. I want to say something about that. I am extremely proud every time I catch the beginning of this show, because Marcia again has single-handedly, with the decision, well, it maybe have been a joint decision with Dave, but certainly when we see it before the camera, the decision of this show to play the national anthem at the start, to my mind, was a very good one. It reminds Barbadians not only that we have a national anthem, but more importantly, I hope that when people listen, they are actually listening to the lyric national anthem, because for me, I expect that Barbadians are guided by the meaning, the very powerful meaning of those of the words of the national anthem. And it is really a reminder on a nightly basis as we start this show that we as Barbadians ought to be proud of ourselves as Barbadians, as members of this country. We have recently become a republic. Some people see that as the perhaps the final major stage, and I say major stage because we went to independence, we created a republic, but what is required now is that we live out what those things symbolize. We as a people need to develop a spirit of independence, but that does not mean a spirit outside, living by yourself and of yourself, but recognizing that as an independent nation and as citizens of that nation, we need to develop an attitude and approaches to life which says that we control our destiny, and we therefore have to pay significant attention to how we live our lives, how we prepare our children and our grandchildren and those yet unborn to be true citizens of Barbados, firm craftsmen of our fate, as the anthem says. And Lemuel, good night. I believe, Dave, it might be, you can signal to me, pleasant good night to Rob. And so I believe somebody is joining me. And so we will soon get to play the national anthem. And Marcia is smiling. I don't know, she's laughing at me and saying,
not at all, not
anyway,
at all. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much, Miss McLean. We know we can call on you, running all the way from St. Lucie, and thank you for those kind words that you shared this evening. We are coming straight hot off the press from St. Lucie, but you mentioned the national anthem, and so we're going to play that right now as you're talking about nationhood, etc. So I'm going to ask everybody to get ready. We do it. This is important. Ms. McLean, the anthem, as you said. So we're going to stand to the playing of the national anthem.
Right.
Yes. Oh my goodness. You know, Miss McLean, every time I hear that national anthem, there's something in that anthem that stands out to me. And today it is that binds our hearts from coast to coast. And you know, I thought of that because of us flying, not flying, I was going to say flying through St. Lucie, driving through St. Lucie, and just the fact that when we look behind us, there were just cars in the motorcade from different parts of Barbados. And so that part of the anthem stood out, and about these fields and hills beyond recall are now our very own. How beautiful St. Lucie is. It's just beautiful and green. I mean, they
Lush.
don't have a lot of water, but it's still so green. It's just amazing. I don't know. What's your favorite line in the national anthem?
Well, let me see. There's so many. We loyal sons and daughters, all. I think it starts by that. And if we are not loyal to our country and serious about our country, we can't do all the other things, you know.
Yeah.
So in essence, if we are loyal to a cause, we are
Mm-hmm.
committed to a cause. For example, when you say that binds our heart from coast to coast, the pride of nationhood. So all of
Yes.
those things happen because we are
Yes.
loyal. I think that's one way of looking at it. And I'm happy to hear what you talked about in the motorcade, because and you talk about the lushness of St. Lucie. Unfortunately, there's water, but it is, we know the situation there. And I really, really hope that some firm decisions can be made to address that issue, because we've heard so many explanations. And like you, well, I was away from home. I passed through. Um, did we get to St. Lucie because we were kind of constrained for time today? But we actually, yeah, we touched every parish. We touched, sorry,
Mm.
except the two central parishes, because it was there were places we would have wanted to stop, but I know we went south and then came around. And for 166 square miles, as I was saying to there were three persons, who would have been part of the group that I went out with. That as small as we are, topography wise, we are different. When we saw the East Coast and the rugged nature of that, the different geological formations and so on. And then you see, as in St. Lucie, as you would see in St. John, because we passed through St. John, the lots of open spaces, agricultural land,
Yes.
and there are the positives. And then I must say this, please, 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 if you don't want to do it for us living in Barbados, the tourist season is starting, the cruise season pretty much has started. The regular land-based tourist season starts mid-December. And I did see some trimming back, because the last time I did that with some friends, which was about just short of a month ago, I made the same plea. We have to remember that the roads in the countryside have to accommodate vehicles, tourists. In this case, because I'm talking tourism, there needs to be a lot more tidying of the
Mm-hmm.
roadways, and to cut back the shrubbery that overgrows the road. I mean, you're saying the same thing with trees.
Right.
And so I think as beautiful as we are, we need to make it more beautiful. And I think
Yes.
that's important. And it's
Yes.
and it's made more beautiful by loyal sons and daughters
Oh, I love.
who
Yeah.
commit, you know.
But you see, Kamar says, and it's his second night. Good night, Kamar. Kamar is joining us from Connecticut. So she's one of
Okay.
those, yes, she's one of those in the diaspora. And they're very, very strong, in the UK, in the USA, in Canada,
Hmm.
from
Hmm.
all over. And, she says, good night, all loyal opposition leaders. And that's what we are. And that's what happened in St. Lucie. Really, I was just there, to facilitate all of the St. Lucie residents, and I'm hoping that they'll join us at some point, because really this was about them, and we were just there to facilitate them and just for them to move in that role, and they did. They really did. I didn't think that some of them, one of the gentlemen, he expected that he was supposed to speak on the microphone, but he did about quarter of the way. And Mr. Stephen, Strickland, he's accustomed to that. But the other gentleman, I'm not sure, but he said to Mrs. Strickland, "You think I could do it?" Mr. Strickland says, "Yes, you can." And he took that microphone and, as a resident of St. Lucie, stood on that truck, Kamar, and he spoke to the people, his fellow residents of St. Lucie. And that's really what it's all about. When we come on the show, it's about empowering people, empowering the people of St. Lucie to stand up. And they're going to come on a little later, Miss McLean, and talk to us about what their next initiative is. Not my idea. Don't blame me. It's them.
You're the catalyst.
Yeah,
your inspiration, and that is good. Community effort is important, and if you so inspire people, hats off to you.
Yeah, it's really about the community, and that's what we saw in effect today. And so I want to say in the early, Miss McLean, thanks to those who came from all the different parishes. From St. Philip, I came from St. Philip, and quite a number of us were there from St. Philip. And we saw Verla de Pisa was there, actually. And Mr. Thorne, I didn't even realize that they were there until it was over because of all the cars, because we don't, once the motorcade has started, you don't get to see everybody else. Mm-hmm. And what came across was that this was an initiative from the community. It was not a political thing. I'm sure if they saw Mr. Thorne, they would have allowed him, to say something on the microphone. But we didn't even see him until the end. Okay, David, this is one of we saw the sunset.
My favorite things.
Yes, I remembered you. We saw this sunset. I don't know the name of the place that we saw this at, but we saw this sunset, and this is us there. That's the police leading us there, and we want to shout out to the police there in Whole Town, and to say thank you so much for the favor that you gave to us, and how you helped us. Right there, the cars are kind of spread out. We were on a road where we're now going fast because we didn't have enough. We didn't have a lot of houses, in the communities and so on. But really and truly, it was a real community effort. And people came from all over Barbados. And that's what I talk about. It's a pride of nationhood that binds our hearts, Miss McLean, regardless of where we live, from coast to coast. And it is a pride of nationhood. And I want to encourage St. Lucie. St. Lucie, don't step back. Step back now. Keep going forward. Keep going forward. We are there with you. We're going to lift you up. We're going to lift up your hands. But keep going forward, St. Lucie. You guys did great today. Everybody who came out, all the water that was donated. And I know that there are some people that you did not get water and you're quite upset about it. I know. And this is to tell us who are here, we have water and we can donate water, how much the people of St. Lucie need water. Miss McLean, some of them were very upset that they did not get water. I left David Bowen there going back to take water to some of those people who felt that they did not get any water. We are so sorry about that. And we're going to try. I know that in the next 2 weeks that the young Dems are going to be going out, and so I asked everybody to support them. This time around, it was us here, the loyal opposition, and the Young Dems. They were part of it as well. But in 2 weeks, Shaquani Hunt has said to me that the Young Dems are going out again to St. Lucie, and they are going to be serving water. So just please tell the people of St. Lucie, we're not going to forget you. We're not going to forget you. We're going to come back, okay? And we're asking everybody, you see what the need is now, because some of them, Miss McLean, were not too happy that they didn't get, but we just did not have enough.
No, but that's important. As I listen to you, I was just jotting down some words here, because when you talk about the pride and nationhood, and it is about, and you stress that this is a community initiative. So Angela is saying that we'll bring water. Then she did not know of today. Sorry, but as you said, it's an ongoing need, and perhaps part of what you should do is to note the areas that you started out, which meant that the areas that you ended and didn't get, you do a reversal, and so
Yes.
that you make sure that they get first, and then others. But it is about, well, my thinking on some of these whole, I talk about power pooling and I use it in so many contexts. But it is good to see that you have, and Angela thanks it. She's gonna, instead of asking for a gift or expecting a gift, she's gonna give a gift for her birthday, which I think is
Oh, that's
beautiful.
lovely.
This is beautiful, and we really appreciate that. But this whole, I'm not asking people to expect government to abdicate their responsibility, but I think that where communities come together and insist on addressing their programs, that they can more pressure government to pay
Mhm.
attention, to make sure that they do what is necessary. Because a lot of people have gotten into this mentality, well, somebody can come and solve my problem or give me a short-term solution or handout. But we need to, and hello to Tironi Hall, but we really need to encourage people to work together to solve some of their problems, highlight the problems, but beyond highlighting the problems, to work to solve them, and call on government to, provide where necessary the support. Because you look around Barbados, and we focus a lot on, because it's happening in front of our eyes all the time, the violence, the distressing situation facing and behaviors facing some of our children. But I believe that if I start with the children, communities hold the answer to some of those problems in their hands by working together, intergenerational activities, strength in unity, exactly, in terms of intergenerational activities which would serve to pass on the values. When you think of your growing up days, Marcy, I'm sure you can think of the elders in your community. However
Yes.
difficult it was, they were the ones who sought to tell young people how to stay on the straight and narrow,
Yes. Yes. I was thinking about this weekend. As you know, we honored you on
Yeah,
Friday. That was a surprise to her. But this
it was.
entire weekend, when I think of it, I think we went to St. Lucie today, and I thought of you in St. Lucie because what we were doing was serving, and that is what you do. And there are three words that come to mind: service, humility, and respect. Service, humility, and respect. And we're talking about communities. One lady, she said, I heard that she said to them, but why no? We've been having this problem all this time. How come you're all coming now? We've been here all this time. And I think what I think the person who she said it to, well, he said it to her, well, no, I guess we don't understand what it is that you're going through. And so today what we saw was people in humility serving each other, taking the time out of their busy schedule, showing respect to the people of St. Lucie, because it calls for that. Like one of the speakers on the microphone kept saying that we in St. Lucie, we have value. We have value. We are not the people that is all the way in St. Lucie, all in at the back of God, or what is it in the
Behind God back.
behind God back, and he was saying we are people of value. And so today was a day to say to St. Lucie, listen, we want to give you the respect, St. Lucie. We respect you as a human being. We respect the fact that you need clean water, and we're here to serve you. And that's what that's really, these are the three words. And actually it's one of the loyal opposition, one of them, Adrian, who shared these three words with me: service, humility, and respect. And if we keep those if we keep those at the forefront of our minds within our communities, as Ms. McLean is saying, we don't need to, yes, we're going to hold government accountable, but we continue to serve in our community. Look for those areas that you can serve. Look for those areas that you can treat somebody with respect. What about the elderly? Treat them with respect, and do it in humility, serving in humility. Miss McLean, I know you have something there you want to say.
I wrote down. I hear you because you use some words and I was responding to the lady who said, "But why now?" And I would say this: it is not something. It has happened before. The focus was not necessarily on St. Lucie, but I have relatives in St. Lucie. My sister-in-law and my late brother's family live in St. Lucie. My son has relatives in St. Lucie. I have other relatives in St. Lucie. But I would also say this: because you have been highlighting the problem, you have made Barbadians conscious about it, more conscious, let me say.
Yes.
And I wrote down these words because I said, and I've said, you probably heard me before, I said Bajans like to discuss things. They like to describe them. They like to diagnose. But I'll tell you what, the Marcia Weeks show does all of that, but it also does another D. It does. The people do. They take action. So I say to that person, beyond highlighting the problem and educating people and reminding government in this case about the problem and the urgency of the need to urgently address it, because I mean I know, because as I said, I have a sister-in-law, a nieces, but the one is not there now, a great nephew who lived in Lucy, and all of my sister-in-law's family and others. And we have seen the situation seem to deteriorate. When I see the color water, I am not sure that it was always as dark as it is, as tinted, I don't want to use the word, as dark, as dirty looking as it is. But we are saying, look, we have been talking about this because it is ongoing and there appears to be no solution in sight. What you've tried to do is to get answers, to get explanations to possible reasons why what is happening. But then you say, look, as government seeks to solve the problem and we continue to call on the government, what can we do to help alleviate in the short term, even though it may be small in relation to the total need? You have done something to show that you care enough to do what you're doing. If that person thinks it is too late, then they can let the water go to somebody else. But this, I think people need to accept the genuine nature of what you're doing and deal with that. So I say to her, I am sure, and it's sad because, and I will say this, I tend not to get into negatives, but I understand that a certain Charles Morris, and I will call his name, was alleged to have said to tell Marcia Weeks to keep her water. Now, how ungodly and uncharitable and downright inappropriate. I can't use the kind of words. I went to church this morning, and this is a man who is supposed to be an Anglican like me. But if he said that, I trust God will forgive him, because rather than be thankful and say, well, notwithstanding, however, I my personal thoughts about whatever, that gesture should be appreciated. But to say that coming from somebody who is supposed to be sitting where he sits, that was horrible. But anyhow, enough of that. I felt the need to say that of him and to him if he listens, because I'm sure, but that's not godly. And that's all I would say on that.
Definitely. I mean, the people in St. Lucie who were there and so disappointed that they didn't get water, I'm sure they would not like that comment coming from Charles Morris. What he doesn't understand
We will
is
put that in.
Yeah, that's right for them duration.
yeah, he doesn't understand the power of community and the power of all of us coming together. What happened was that we all came together today, and this wasn't about any party. In fact, as I said, we didn't even know Mr. Thorne was there until it was finished.
Right.
Because
Good turn off your leg out there.
it wasn't a case where people.
Glenn has his mic on in case he doesn't know.
I turned it off.
Okay, good.
But it's really about the people of St. Lucie giving respect. And that's what it's all about, giving Barbadians respect. We understand what you're going through. We respect you as another human being. and we're here to serve you in humility. And that's really what today was about. There were leaders there who were there and they didn't even say a word. It was the people of St. Lucie who had that microphone. And I never said a word to the people at no time. Corporately it was the people from St. Lucie, and I think that is really what is the power of it, the power of the people. I see Mr. Murray here, and Mr. Murray knows all about community and how important community is. I know he started the community independence celebrations. And so he would understand the power of community. We're talking about what happened in St. Lucie
Yes.
today, this
Yes.
act of service and respect given to the people of St. Lucie. Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night to the two ladies of honor.
Good night,
Respect you.
sir. Good to
Good
see
night.
you.
Good. I'm glad that you spoke about community. Before I forget, many years ago, when I migrated to Canada and studied at Ryerson, the first course I did was something called uh, the Psychology of Human Relations and Communications Media. And the main point they made in that whole program was that a matter becomes a public issue, not because of any inherent importance in the matter itself, but the amount of publicity and attention you give to it, right? And that is what is happening in St. Lucie. The people have there's encouragement. They now are organically taking it on and take it to a level, just like we did with the cybercrime bill.
Yes.
So once you keep punching and punching, sooner or later you have to begin to recognize the importance. Secondly, just before he came on air, and they caught a call from Dr. Nichols, who said that somebody was calling him saying that by the Master Week show playing the national anthem every night is against the protocol. They're breaking the rules or what. So I told him it was absolute rubbish, right? They don't break the protocol when you fly the Barbados flag. They tell you how to obey the protocol. When the radio station open with the Barbados national anthem, they're not breaking the protocol. So I think we are beginning to make an impact in that regard. They probably feel that March week should begin to own, quote unquote, own this concept of the national anthem, and therefore they're trying to bust in on it. I would like to suggest, and in future, in fact, from the next time on air, I will come on air wearing a Barbados pin on my shirt. I think we should demonstrate.
We should start to do that. Yes.
We took issue with the Prime Minister not wearing, and we should show the example that we are going to do it every night, every day, because Barbados is our country every night, every day, and not on special occasions. Right,
Correct.
and the flag.
And the flag, and the flag. Only today I was looking at going back at some of the prime ministers. I'm going to give you back your time, but just to say this, that I was looking at some of the prime ministers' earlier presentations to the UN, and I noticed that I have not found any of them at the moment. They might exist, but I have not found any picture with her wearing the Barbados flag at all times that I saw today. Just this morning, I was researching. It was the UN Sustainable Goals that she was wearing. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I have not seen it. And so to that person that is saying that we keep playing the national anthem every night, you know what? It is causing us to become more patriotic to our country. There is a love for Barbados that we're developing. We are beginning to connect with the lyrics of this anthem, and it's become really our rallying call. The anthem has become our rallying call, and yes, go ahead.
It resonates very strongly in diaspora. As a matter of fact, one of the big fans of the show, you would know the name Walter Edie,
yes,
has for some time been impressed on me to have. He gave me some ideas as to how we can take that national anthem and make further use of it. I will discuss it with you off air, but they themselves and one or two other people, they like to hear it because they don't get to hear it themselves unless they go or they play it at home. So have it collectively, that means something to the spirit and the Barbadianists. And one last thing before on the question of independence. The lighting ceremony that used to start community independence celebration on the 1st of November, which is Friday, I have not heard any announcements, any promotion of it. So I don't know if it's happened
You know
again
what?
or
I'm going to let us spend at least 15 minutes, Miss McLean, and to talk about the independence and the republic, because that's one of the topics I had on here tonight. And I would ask the other guests to come a little later, because I think, Mr. Murray, I think this is a fitting time to bring this up, because up till now I cannot tell what we are celebrating in November. I don't know when we're celebrating. What are we celebrating in November? The others probably know. Is it independence? Is it republic? Is republic going to be on a different day? What do I celebrate on the 30th of November? Has that been made clear to us as yet? Mr. Murray, continue your thoughts and let me hear from the people.
Yes. You want me to go into my presentation itself,
No,
or you
I want us to talk a little bit.
this one?
12 minutes on this issue.
Yeah, I don't mean to be self-centered, but the very reason I was asked to conceptualize the program, community, and I came with a community independence celebration, and I said Barbados has 30 days in a month. We have 11 parishes. We have enough material in Barbados that each parish people thought or skeptical at first to say it could work. And I said, no, if you treat each parish separately, and each parish has its own distinctions, you have enough material coming out of the community to carry the program. I've been doing that for almost 29 years now. As a matter of fact, it's been so impactful that I see an announcement has been made that from BTMI that when they have the gathering next year, 25, they're gonna have each parish for the whole year. So they're building on an infrastructure that has proven its worth. I think like I said last time we talked about, I think the mistake is to have taken it and put it under the community development division. Now it becomes just another activity. Max, you know that when something is under the Prime Minister's office, it has a different impact for the public psyche differently. And it should have its own dedicated staff, like have people who go work if you're treating every day, month, every year, you have to work it every year, not as though it was a netball tournament sometime and you have 2 weeks to prepare for the one, right? So I think that is part of the problem. And you're losing momentum. And I would like to see it go back, because I remember that before, in order to enlist the help of the committee, I met with the radio stations and I told them what was my idea, and I sought their help, because at one time we only would hear Barbadian music the last week before the 30th. And they started from the 1st of November throughout November. As a matter of fact, it helped artists to get more money and more royalties because they're getting more and more exposure, and it rekindled a lot. So it was very useful in stimulating. And let me see this opportunity. I was so committed to it. When I went to Ottawa as High Commissioner, on the 1st of November, at 6 o'clock, the lights will be switched on at the official residence, Barbados colors, and people come carry park and take pictures because that is Barbados territory, and they celebrate. And every year, I did that while I was there. I'm not sure what happens now. And now, at my home here where I live now, on the 1st of November, my wife makes sure that we have lights also. So it's something that's part of me now. And I think it can be, it has shown it's part of the community. And I think we're doing ourselves a disservice by not cultivating and encouraging the master people. So it's setting the tone outside of the independence move. And it's something we should build on and make it patriotism every day of the year for Barbados.
The big question I would like for everybody, we have just another 5 minutes. And throughout the program, I think once we get a break, we're going to go back to this.
Okay.
Because I think that we really need to settle this. I remember the first year that there was, after we became a republic, someone was sheltering and they came on my veranda. Just a regular lady going to work, and she said, independence is tomorrow, but I don't even know what I'm celebrating. What am I supposed to celebrate? She was genuinely confused. And I've heard children at school who are confused as well. And so my question to everybody who is on, should we have a separate day for Republic Day? Should we keep November 30th as Independence Day and have a separate day for Republic Day? Is that what we should have? I'm not sure what they're planning to have this year. They've started to decorate town. What is it that we're decorating for? What are we preparing for? That I need to understand that, because if it is it that we're going to obliterate November 30th as we're going to change that as Independence Day and it becomes Republican Day or something? I don't know. I'm confused. Miss McLean, do you know what it is?
I do not know, but it is not only us that are concerned. On Saturday, I was at a place getting a manicure, and one of the ladies there said, "What is happening on the 30th of November? Is it Independence Day? Is it Republic Day? What I really want to know." And then another young lady turned and she looked at me, and I laughed and said, "Why are you looking at me?" I said, "Well, for your information, November the 30th is Independence Day. We have had no announcements." And I would answer the question this way. We should have another day for Republic Day. Now, somebody may argue we have a lot of holidays already. Go in and look at the existing holidays. And if you have to eliminate, there was a time we had United Nations Day, right, Blind? We used
That's
to have
right.
a holiday called United Nations Day, and it came out when they put in the national heroes and things like that. So we can go in and look and see where we can change it. Because what you're going to have is a case where, in the minds of Bajans, if we don't do that in an effort to kill off independence, if that's the objective, we can have a situation where people, they say, and I don't know if it's what foul fish
Let
or
the fish, good red herring.
good red herring. You
Right.
need to do that, because right now there's nothing. And
I,
nature abhors a vacuum.
I would have thought that given the fiasco and the embarrassment that happened last time, that they would have learned some lessons and have been more proactive and definitive and set the stage for what they want to do. But it seems as though maybe the Prime Minister is too busy looking after the world and look after independence in the country, unless that has been subsumed or because of the Republic. You don't know. Give us some insight into what you're thinking is, so we can at least have an opinion and prepare ourselves for it. But right now, obviously, no importance is being attached to it. There's nothing in the air. All kinds of things are being promoted, nothing happening.
Glenn, isn't this something that you would have? You sat in cabinet like I did. I am sure that if we were sitting with these questions on answers, my cabinet colleagues that I knew would have raised it officially in cabinet meetings. Prime Minister, Mr. Chairman, as you know, people with whatever they use in terms of that, like one of those two terms. What exactly is happening on November 30th? My constituents and the people of Barbados want to know. I can hear my colleagues saying that, and having a discussion. So I don't understand why we cannot have definitive.
And you'll be obligated to answer it and give an idea. And then what I used to do when the program was finished, I would send it be a cabinet paper and tell everybody see in detail and everybody knew at the same time what was happening. So it was treated seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But what I remember is that, and they say we have short memory. We don't have short memory. I remember that when this issue came up, when they kind of was trying to slide it in the same way they did with the Republic, right?
That's right.
Have the referendum. They tried. Now, this government is something else. How many of you remembered when they were telling us we were going to celebrate Republic Day, and all of their cronies started to print the T-shirts? You remember that? They were changing Republic Day, changing Independence Day to Republic Day, and was saying nothing to us. And the people of Barbados rose up and they said absolutely not. And you remember what the Prime Minister said 2 years ago? She said we will revisit this another time. Who remember that?
That's right.
That's what she said. and she has not come back to us with it. All we see is happening. We're seeing preparations are going on. And what we're saying on the show is this: if you won't ask her in cabinet, as these past cabinet members are saying how it's normally done, if those that are with you in parliament, they don't have the balls to ask you, the people of Barbados we are asking you, ma'am.
But
What is happening? Are we celebrating?
In addition, Minister Wilfred Abrams, he's also minister responsible for information. And last time, remember, he was the voice of the confusion. He tried to sort out back and forth. But he himself, he should be saying something. That is his role as Minister of Information. GIS is there, has always been there since 1958, I think it was. And these institutions are being played a disservice, being pushed in the backwater. Well, something else, the influencers are the propagandists. That's one of the most despicable modern terms I've ever heard. An influencer, a propagandist who's being paid a sum of money to promote a particular cause. They're not journalists, they're not analysts, they're not giving any object. That is their job. So they are putting propaganda for persons or against persons. So influencers, and that's where the taxpayers' money is going.
Yeah, they're trying to push this Barbados National Day thing. I'm saying to the Prime Minister and to our entire cabinet, let's not be disrespectful again to the people of Barbados. This is what they were pushing last year, okay? And the confusion was there again. Is it Republic Day? Is it Barbados National Day? Is it Independence Day? Listen to me, Barbados. We need to demand clarity of this government. They're not going to confuse us anymore and confuse our children. People are connected to November 30th. You hear what I tell you? I am telling you, there is a connection that Barbadians have to November 30th. Don't play with our emotions. Do not play with our emotions. You need to be clear with us on exactly what is happening on November 30th. And up until we're going to do that Miss McLean, if we mean every time we come on here, we make us think about it, we will. They must make it clear. This is very emotional for a lot of people.
But I'm looking at this thing here, Barbados National Day press statement. Anthony Blinken, here's the Secretary of State. So was he congratulated Barbados last year on our National Day, which means that something has been
Barbados National Day press statement, but
on behalf of the United States, I want to congratulate you and celebrate your independence. The United States shares blah blah blah. So this is as you celebrate your independence on November 30th. But he made reference. Well, that may be just the title of his press release. I'm not sure what else goes on underneath. But you're correct. What we have done is to, I can't even say dilute, but they almost seem to be trying to wipe off the face of the national calendar Independence Day. And that is absolutely disrespectful to the people of Barbados. I don't understand. Go ahead, Glenn.
I'm fully convinced that this government, or at least the leader, is intent of rewriting and reshaping and reconfiguring Barbados in a way that nobody's ever imagined. Too many things that have become important to Barbados, Barbados have embraced and promoted and been proud of, are being knocked aside without any consultation, information, are just being demolished. You did it with the NAS building in Bridgetown for Julian Park. You did it with the fire service next door. You're doing it with somebody other. You know, doing it happening down St. James, where the built heritage or some of the natural are being obliterated. Yes. With no context. At least give me an idea why it is being done. You have national heroes there now square with some futuristic. It says nothing.
And right? The thing is, when you look at those things, I mean, just try to visualize it in terms of the physical structures that Glenn spoke about. You remove that. You remove historic. Today when I passed whole town and I pointed out the monument to my friends, and then I indicated to them that there's this wish on the part of government to remove this. And the question is, isn't this an important part of your history? And this isn't me asking, then you point out Bridgetown and its historic garrison and where the Barbados Defense Forces, and that is supposed to disappear. So what you're going to create is some generic looking place with no historical. I say this to the Prime Minister of Barbados. Somebody said it to me a little while ago. A lie is a sprint and the truth is a marathon. You may try to sprint across these things to remove the facts, the history. But you know, this is part of the deconstruction. You know, first deconstruct and reconstruct, but we seem to be stuck on deconstruct.
But Maxine, sorry, one of the most demeaning and to me vexatious proposal is to demolish government headquarters and turn it into a hotel facility. Why? With no, just because you want to put it in some greedy capitalist hands, can you imagine anybody dare proposing the White House on Pennsylvania Avenue, or number 10 Downing Street, or what is it in France, in Paris, the President's Palace, at the center of government, the government headquarters. First of all, the original fire station was one of the first buildings built by a Barbadian government of the masses after 1951. That's the work. You started building Barbadian now, the Barbadian architecture and colloquial buildings, etc. And then it was government headquarters in '56. I remember as a little boy going to the garrison at Cornwall and seeing that come up out of the ground. I'm wishing, because at that time it was the tallest building in Barbados. Mm-hmm. So much so that people used to call it Adam's Castle, because it was so big to us. Because prior to that, all of the government offices, the ministries, used to be in parliament buildings. And so we decided you have to have your own facility. And they built that, and that has, I mean, every little boy or girl can think of being prime minister in that office one day. You think you're going to knock it down just to put it in the hands of moneyed interests? Have you no shame? No conscience?
I want to go back to the headline.
We're going to spend another minute on this, and I hope we have some time to go back to it, Miss McLean, because I
just want to say that Barbados National Day might have come from communication sent to Washington, because remember the Prime Minister was talking about a National Day.
Yes.
And that is what they might have had that communicated to them, and that's why they use it. Now, I will say simply, I'm very concerned about the statement about teachers being, because when you communicate to children, you are actually erasing something that has not, are preventing the implanting of something in children's minds. Because we know of independence, but if they do that to the children, what you're doing is you are taking away from those young children the opportunity to understand what independence is about.
You're one quick second, Marcy. You're very right, Maxine, because at one time, the 5th of November used to be Guy Fawkes Day.
Big day.
Remember Big Day? That was commemorating the attempt by Guy Fawkes to blow up the Parliament in England. And we used to celebrate on Barbados with bonfires and the cap boil and cap. And that went on, then that went on. And then when Tom Martin became Prime Minister, he thought it was noisy and disruptive to upset the animals and older people and what. And he banned it. And that nobody remembers that now. So it shows that if you ignore something long enough, it could go away for anybody remembering it.
But you've said it so well, and that is what they're trying to do. You said it, and we're going to pick this up again right on there on what you said. If you ignore it long enough, and that's what I hate about this. That what's happening is that she is determined. They are determined, this government, to get their way. Doesn't matter what the people of Barbados want. They are determined. They're going to ignore it. And so it goes out of our mind. But Miss, it's a hot topic, but we're going to get back to it. But let me just allow Mr. Murray. Mr. Murray has done his research.
Yes.
Mr. Murray, over to you.
Thank you very much. My topic tonight is called When White is Not Right. When White, W-H-A-T-E, is not right, R-I-G-H-T. And it all relates. It relates to this. It has relations to what we are talking about tonight spontaneously. Now, first of all, I've lived to see where some of our major institutions that made Barbados what had become proud and successful, advanced and progressing, disappear, eroded, cast aside. There was a time when education held pride of place for Barbados. There was a time when a school, property, a school building, was almost as sacred as a church. There were things you would not do that you had in such awe and respect. And I say that to bring me back into that sordid affair that took place at Foundation School 2 weekends ago, where the government, the Barbados Party, succeeded, decided to paint the floor of of the school building of this Foundation School in red in party colors. To me, that is political vandalism. Political. It is very, very, very unbecoming of our serious government, and they should be ashamed of themselves. And it's too late, not too late, to apologize. And by now, we would hope that floor had been repainted, because you have destroyed the neutrality, the apolitical nature of the school by putting it in red. And in my time as a reporter, also when I was in the Barbados Party, I worked in the Barbados Party, I helped arrange conferences. I've been to conferences both for the B's and the D's, probably 10 or 12 different schools in Barbados: Harrison College, Queens College, Commonwealth, Bradley Adams. Give me some more. Foundation itself. And nobody ever went near. It just did to do that. And it would, if anybody proposed it, I'm sure it would have been kicked down. But because of this idea of the supremacy of the party, and our image must predominate wherever we go, I can see that being proposed. I know that's something that would not have missed the Prime Minister's notice at all, because she's very detailed. She likes to know what's going on, everything. She likes knowing what is going on, also who's doing it, etc. So it's something like that cannot have escaped them. And then the Prime Minister. So what's happened? The Prime Minister came to that. If red is so important a symbol, right? And I will give you some insight into. There's a whole area of study called the psychology of colors, of color, which each color is supposed to represent certain, to reflect and stimulate and get certain responses from individuals. That's why you wear certain colors. And so your party color is a party symbol. It's supposed to represent the party. Red came out of Social International in the 40s and 40s, which you did when you're fighting for the workers and the working class. That was their red. I mean, can you imagine Keir Starmer or Tony Blair going to a Labour Party conference in England and wearing a pink tie on day and deliver their speech? Can you imagine? I've watched press conference, party conference all over the world, United States and England. I've seen Thatcher dressed in her blue, because that is you're representing your party and whatnot. But here the Prime Minister goes and she other people, the floor and people in the red shirts is all red.
Right.
But she is in white. She is in white. Is it that white? Red is for the masses. But we are too good for that, and red and white is for the classes or the elite. Because the Prime Minister came to the Barbados, they probably wearing white. Maxie would know, not I had such a came for the DLP to the BLP, but she wore white. I've never seen, like I said last time, I've only seen one member of her family, the late brother Warren, who unfortunately died, wearing red. The white is their natural color. White, and I say this because I was trying to put it in a historical, sociological, and psychological context. I remember thinking about white is this white. I remember growing up, and if you went into Bridgetown on a Thursday in the 50s, 60s, or probably 70s, when sugar was still king, you'd see the plantation managers and owners coming to town dressed in white from head to toe sometimes. White court hat, as we call it, white shirt, white jacket, white pad, going to the bank in a brown valise or suitcase, we call it a valise, to collect the workers' money. And that, so I mean, this stood out. In Britain, go to Barclays Bank especially. So that represented the plantocracy, the money class, the
Mm.
elites, and whatnot. Okay. Apart from that, the 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 prime minister's grandfather, the patriarch of the family, Ernest Data Money, was aligned to the same money class, as they call the conservatives, the money owners, the planters, the people with the welfare in Barbados, under a party called the Barbados National Party. And then that became, when that got destroyed at the polls, then it became the Motley team. So I'm saying that we are all products of our upbringing and our socialization, family
Mm-hmm.
circles. If you have been raised in a circles where white and thinking that the sociology and the social class and the money class, white become naturally part of your thinking. Right? I'm just trying to see the put in some kind of context,
Interesting. Yeah.
right? And because you can't red is supposed to represent power and strength and determination and courage or whatnot. Things which any political party, that's why the Barbados Labour Party and other parties of that era latched on, because they represented those symbols to the working class. But now you have a real white, and white is supposed to be pure and virginal and innocent, etc. It has a different psychological connotation altogether, right? Um, and therefore, yeah, white is supposed to be purity, perfection,
Mm-hmm.
honesty, cleanliness.
Yes.
That's why, right? Those are the things that white are supposed to represent. And so I can only think that that it is demonstrated in the thinking. It's been going on for so long. It cannot be an accident that on the biggest day of your conference, you appear in white. When you have mandated or may have virtually all others except the people in your entourage were red, and you come in white. What does it tell you? You do not identify with the color of the working class, of the masses, etc. It's akin to what happened at United Nations. You mentioned it again, when she has not been wearing the Barbados symbol, the Barbados flag, the Barbados colors. Don't you identify with these symbols? How could you, as Prime Minister, abandon those colors for something over which you have no control with the United Nations warranty? Those are just slogans and labels. Barbados is a real living country with people with ambitions and goals and objectives that want to live and survive and thrive and advance. Those are the things that you should be seeing to perpetuate and work. So therefore, I think that that's why I chose the topic. Why is not right. It cannot be right that all other persons around the party be decked in red from head to toe in shoes, etc. And you wear white. What does it tell you? How do you explain it? There were some splashes of red in her scarf.
Mm-hmm.
So Martin, I would like you both you and Marcia to try to this idea of a scarf, wearing a scarf. It
I
has come into vogue when with the prime minister. And I see some purpose around her party. Even some male members of her party are starting to wear scarf. To me, when you look at when you investigate it, it's supposed to represent leadership or seniority or something in certain cultures. To me, when you have a nice tailored suit or a nice tailored dress, it only destroys the creativity. What does it represent in the Barbadian culture? Or is it just another thing that we are importing, adopting from other cultures, and it does not resonate in the Barbadians?
I
You all, if you can
I
explain that to
I
me, please.
I first of all, it is a stylish thing for some people, but the scarves that people wear as part of a fashion kind of thing, they usually wrap them in and tie them in different. Only this morning I commented to a young lady at church. She had on this scarf tied, in a nice bow, and they do them in rosettes and whatever. Every time I see the prime minister in hers, I call it her security blanket. Children sometimes drag around a, a their blanket and uh, it, it is not, I don't know. It just, when the other people put some other meanings to it. So I will call it a security blanket. It just does not, I can't explain it because it isn't done in, I mean, sometimes people do it to accentuate, some people carry scarves because they for example, the areas are warm, but they may have them on their handbag. So for example, not warm, cold, you go into a conference and it's kind of chilly, so you may have a scarf on your handbag, or in your handbag, you take it out and you put it on and you warm yourself up. But I look at those and I ask myself, it is not, well, I can't, it does not appear to be, I don't want to be categorical that it is a fashion statement, but I call it her security blanket.
Yeah.
They don't look appealing to me. To me, they don't add anything to your attire.
Yeah.
To me, I was
And anything. Well,
confused.
can I just say something here that
Sure.
Barbadians would remember? And again, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, it's okay. I'll come and say, I'm sorry. But I started to look at that scarf and to see when the prime minister started wearing the scarf. And somebody might say, why you're being petty? You're talking about a scarf. But listen, the scarf in my, based on what I have seen, and somebody could go and check it out, became prominent and started to happen after her trip to Ghana. So people associate the trip to Ghana was when they buried the flag and then they took it back out. Okay, everybody remember that. But also it is in Ghana. My recollection is when the scarf, because if you look, a lot of the chiefs, they would wear a scarf like that, and that it started in Ghana. When she came back from Ghana, what I would like to also say is that I believe that even just listening to Mr. Murray, that the wearing of white and with that red scarf, I believe that it seemed very priestly to me. My perception, this is my opinion. It seems very priestly. It seems very religious. In a lot of religions, the way she dresses is what a high priestess would wear. It's just my view on it when I see it. That's what comes off to me. From the picture, even the way the whole thing was set up, it seemed very, very spiritual, very ritualistic. There was something ritualistic about it. That's just my view on it. Taking the scarf by itself, as Ms. McLean says, it might be a fashion statement. It might be a cultural thing that she picked up from Ghana. But putting it in the context of the annual conference and what she was wearing, considering that red is a color, and they went as far as it's alleged that they painted the whole floor red. Why would the leader be in a white gown? It's very interesting. That looks to me like a high priestess. This is not. There is something about this dress to me, or the way the dress is, that says to me something that is ritualistic, something that is. Somebody says it's almost like a messianic complex. It's a savior.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's an interesting.
I'm glad you said that, because the Prime Minister has adopted a persona as the mother of the country. Maybe she has defined herself as the chieftain or whatever it is. So she must take on, let's adopt this African persona or style to make your point. She speaks to us in condescending terms, as though things that we knew a lot years ago, born here, as though they're original. She's telling us things you don't know. She talks down to us, and maybe that's all part of a complex in her head that she now has appointed herself as the know all, the be all, the miss great grandmother Barbados or whatever. But let me just look at that. If you look at that picture, when I look at that picture, I was quite offended. Maxine, look very close to see where the flag is in relation to the logo at the back. The flag is overpowered by the logo.
Not right.
The flag is too close to them. It should be more distance to separate the two. It's too politically dominant. The flag always stands by itself or with others at a particular point to get the point of reference. Am I right, Maxine?
Yes, and in fact, when you look at it, even though it's not, it looks like it's almost on the touching the floor. You see,
Yes.
because if you look at the broken trident, as you said, in relation to the broken trident, is somewhere halfway down the podium, and then you have this huge um, logo in the background, and it is something that I've been observing, that how the flag is displayed in some of these things, and not only the flag. And I just use the opportunity quick to raise this because I attended the second graduation ceremony at university, and I wanted to raise it, but I didn't get a chance. At the playing of the national anthem, two ushers, official ushers of the university, they were talking during the playing of the anthem, and I looked at them. You know, as children, if your parents give you a certain look, you pick up on it. And one just looked back at me, and she was just, kind of almost giggling, and I'm like, but if these tones have to be set, and that's why. So that is looking very wrong, But I very quickly though, I want to go back to the white.
We have our next guest, so we have 3 minutes left in this
Okay,
segment.
I just want to go back to the white because as Glenn spoke, I thought of the whole. I mean, Marcia, because I was a child of the 60s, I used to go into town. I remember there was a old white man called Mr. Hendy. Yeah. And he was always dressed in white. I remember the days of the court hat and so on. And it is, I tell people that symbolism, but Glenn is more into these things that he would know more. Symbolism is very important. And imagine you enter into a room, and there's a certain walk and so on that you have. If you walk into a room looking kind of, so as you say, you create a certain persona, and it tends to engender a level of, how should I put it, subservience on the part of others sometimes. No, it is something I observe behaviors. People will tell you as a teenager, sit on the bus. I used to observe people, and sometimes people would watch my eyes and tell me, that I give away. But observe the behaviors of certain people and how those people around them behave, whether they encourage a sense of what I would call, as I said, superior subordinate relationship type engagements, or whether they engage each other as equals and, adults, and so on. Respect is due and all of that, but there are symbols, and symbols are used. And I believe, Glenn, that that symbols are used very heavily.
Of course.
In certain political circles.
That's why we have an anthem, that's why we have a pledge, that's why we have national flag. They're important for identifying, for identity, for concentration of public attention. But apart from that, many years ago, I read a book called Understanding Media, written by a man called Marshall McLuhan, who coined the phrase, "The medium is the message." And he says that when he's talking about the media, he was not just talking about communication, but he's talking about everything in life. Like, for example, he said that clothes, or how you wear, or what you wear, how you dress, is a medium, and it sends a message. That his theory was that clothes are an extension of your skin, of your persona, of your being. So therefore, when you wear certain clothes, you are sending certain messages, you're symbolizing certain people, to try to get to project to create a certain perception and get a certain desired effect. So it is not by any means, and the marketers and the creators, they know this very well, and that's what they exploit in order to make their ventures and their activities successful.
Yes. Thank you so much. I mean, this is great observation, Mr. Murray. I know my husband was sending the picture. I was away, and he sent the picture, and he was asking what's wrong with this picture. He had sent it out, so it's good to hear you analyze it, and that's why I love to be around you guys. Because
can I indulge you? I had sent a video earlier. I don't know if you saw it. with a comment
Yes.
from, right? Could you just wrap up this talk about white? I quite made me remember a lot of things. I mean, you went back to the 50s and 60s. I also remember this comment by Maria Agard a few years
Yes.
ago, Dr. Maria Agard, on the question of wearing white.
Yes. Oh my Lord. So let's play that clip. Dave, do you have that clip? Okay.
Right. This might help explain other things. Show that we are not being we're not obsessional.
Yes.
Yeah.
And while you do that, guys, we're going to ask you to subscribe. Important that you subscribe to the show and you like the show, okay? And share, please. Go right ahead, Dave.
You can be an opposition of one, but you could never be a government of one. And when you reach a point that even members of your parliamentary group you undermine and destroy, we ask the question, are we courting the devil? In the realm of possibilities, you can wake a sleeping giant if you have to, but you could never sanctify a demon, even if you dress it in white.
Listen, what we have to say about this piece here is that I know of a fact because I spoke with Miss Dr. Maria Agard. And shortly after that, that woman got so sick. This is why I said to us here, and I said publicly, Miss Motley, yes, she's a politician, but I want to tell you something. This woman deals in the spiritual realm as well. I am telling you. And Maria Agard got so sick. I can tell you because that is my understanding that, and this is why I tell you this one is a fasting and prayer thing, because she I mean she called it as it was, and they were in opposition. So now they talk about what's happening, with the DLP. But this was when the BLP was in the party, that she says all of that reference was to the leader of the opposition at the time, who was Mia Motley. Mr. Murray, any final word on that?
Yeah, just to put it in context, one would remember that Dr. Maria Argar, she was the MP for Christchurch West, and she ran into some objections, etc., for the party, and she was hounded out of the party. She was expelled, and like you said, Mars, at a time when what really upset the public, there was a time that you said she was going through a very serious illness, and please consider that she's very, very bad. She's much better these days. But it was a time when she was at her lowest, and still this ruthless political act was taken against her in Christchurch West.
Yeah. And as Angela is saying, fasting and prayer, right? Important. I know when we talk like this on here, some of you who are not believers, and you have your own, I know the Rasta community, they fast as well. I know that because my friends Bongo and Lumumba, they go and fasting regularly. So it's not just a Christian thing. But I want to say to us that, yes, you're going to notice things and you're going to write letters and but there's a spiritual component to this as well. And a lot of us, we were in a car coming up tonight and people were just saying, I don't understand how this woman is so this and she's involved in this and she's in charge of this. And it's almost like listening, it seems so overwhelming. But when you start to fast and pray about something, I tell you, it becomes so small. And so all of those who are praying and know how to pray and know how to fast, this is the time that you should do that. I want to say to you that a lot has been released over this country during that annual conference. That's just my belief. You might not agree, but it's my opinion. I don't have any proof to give you more than I can tell you that I feel it spiritually. And there's a lot that has been released here. And the powers that we're dealing with, Mr. Murray, it's not just in the natural, but there's a spiritual element to it. I see Mr. John Knox is there, but I think he's waiting to get his other screen up. Right, Mr. John Knox? Give me thumbs up if you're ready. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. He's not ready yet. He's trying to get, he had everything all set there, but then seemed to have
if I might use these few seconds, hopefully until he gets it started, just on a more positive, uplifting topic, I'd like to use this occasion to congratulate that still relatively new consumer organization, BSANE, Barbados Consumers Empowerment Network, which has been doing some very good, diligent work and has been making a serious impact on the Barbadian community. I want to commend Maureen Holder, the executive director, and all the directors for the work they're doing. They're grabbing public attention. They're focusing on the things that matter to the public as individuals and as consumers. And I just want to wish them best of luck and to keep up the good work. BSEN is the name, or BSEN as they pronounce themselves. BECEN, Barbados Consumers Empowerment Network. Thanks for the liberty.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Very, very important. Thanks, Mr. Murray. I think Dave has a final video to play. We're so behind tonight, but we're working. We're working. Go ahead, Dave.
You would hear the shout of outrage down in St. Lucia. If I had thought to have somebody expelled from the Barbados Party for giving interviews to the nation, Harold Hoyt would have gone on the highest poll in Barbados and condemning in the strongest term. The media is being put on trial if somebody serving as a member of parliament can be expelled from a political institution for giving interviews to the media. Giving interviews to the media is in and of itself not something that is destructive of a party. It is what you say when you give the interview. And if somebody was giving interviews to the media to attack the policies of the institution and discredit the institution by attacking the policies of the institution, that would be an issue. But for somebody to be giving interviews to the media to defend themselves, and this will happen in this instance, I believe that a person who has been so attacked has a right to defend themselves in the public domain. And this is wrong. That is outrageously wrong. And that the media itself, we believe, has to sit down and discuss, are we going to allow something like this to stand in Barbados? Can somebody be a pariah for talking to us about a matter concerning themselves? This is a very serious day in the history of Barbados democracy. And I really, really am not going to keep quiet about it anymore. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I feel that you all should talk to me.
This man was giving us so many warnings, and the same thing, the muzzling of people from speaking, freedom of speech is what we're dealing with the cybercrime bill. But here we have, thank you, Dave, for that video. Here we have Mr. John Knox, and he is going to change the topic completely. And we're going to be looking at the Three Houses Spring. And we would have seen an article in the newspaper and comments by the Minister of Agriculture, Indarware, about the Three Houses Spring. So we're going to turn it over now to Mr. John Knox to talk to us about the Three Houses Spring. Welcome, sir. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Marcia. Thanks for your welcome. Good night, Mr. Murray and Miss McLean.
Hi, good night.
Saw the article. I saw the article in the press. Actually, you sent it to me. Now, let me see if I can get it to come up here and just say what it is.
Right, we can get it up for you. We can get it up for you.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get it up. Keep going. We're gonna work on it. Ooh.
Okay.
I don't want you to lose your stuff.
So what happens here is that tests on the water at Three Houses Spring were carried out. The water is obviously water that flows from the head of the spring all the way down to Brown's Pond. The tests that were carried out showed that somebody was diverting animal waste from a pig pen or something into the stream. Okay, first of all, this stream is not part of the public water supply, but it was part of the supply for St. Philip. So you can see here, like the spring has not only been the source of
we're not seeing your screen anymore. We're not seeing your screen at all.
Oh boy. So let me go back here again.
Yes. While you do that, we're asking everybody to share. Dave would be able to put that that article up, and we could read the article as it's up on the screen. So if Dave could just it's in your WhatsApp, just put it up. Thank you.
Right. Good.
Okay, so we're trying, just bear with us because we want to see everything properly, and as soon as we get it up, we will put it up. Okay, but this is the article here on the screen. And I don't know how many of you would have seen it, but this is the article that it came out actually yesterday, the 26th, October 26th, by Emmanuel Joseph. It says a major probe has been launched into water quality findings that reveal animal waste pollution of the crucial Three Houses Spring in St. Philip, which supplies water to area farmers. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security in Darware made the disclosure on Friday, vowing to prosecute the person or persons responsible. Tests were carried out on the water at Three Houses Spring. This water obviously is water that flows from the head of the spring all the way down to Brown's Pond. The tests that were carried out show that somebody was diverting animal waste from a pig pen or something into the stream, we're told Barbados Today exclusively. The matter is being investigated. There's a management committee in place at Three Houses under the Three Houses Spring Management Act, and those investigations, once proved, the person is going to be prosecuted. Some farmers who rely on the spring have expressed concern about the potential negative health effects the polluted water could have on them. So that is the article that was being referred to by Mr. Knox.
If you read a little bit lower down, the paragraph that ends with 1713, a little bit lower down, if you read the article that ends with 1713, I'll explain to you where Brown's Pond is, and show you that the locations does not seem to be known. Okay.
Right. It said the spring has only been the source of sustenance for centuries, but the spring has not only been the source of sustenance for centuries, but the center of water management policy in the country dating back just as long. The current law governing the spring is an update of the Three Houses Spring Act of 1713. The Three Houses Spring Management and Control Act, passed last year, punishes polluters with a fine of $25,000 up to 2 years in prison or both. The offender may also be ordered to take action to fix the spring. The law forbids anyone who diverts, dams, blocks, or pollutes the spring, or installs any device or contrivance in or near the spring which may interfere with the free flow of water.
That's what I want to start by showing a little bit of the history of the spring and where Brown's Pond is, because I think a lot of people, including technical people, don't understand where it is. Can I share this map? No, let me see if I can share
Right.
this
So
map.
if we're not seeing it. So once we can see it, once it comes up, then we
Okay.
can share it.
Share screen. Share screen. Window. Share. All right. Can you see it?
Not here as yet. It's probably going to come soon. In the meantime, everybody, please, while we're trying here to share our screen, in the meantime, we're going to ask you to share. We ask you to subscribe. We noticed that we are sharing a lot, but we're not subscribing enough. Okay, so we need to subscribe so that you can always know that we are on. Okay, yes, go right ahead. You are doing that now.
Have you got the screen? Have you got the shared screen up?
Yes, we're seeing it on our screen.
We
Yes,
can
you're
see,
here.
yeah.
Codrington, Ragged Point, Philip North.
Have you
St.
got
Philip
the
North.
shared screen?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Okay. So we're talking about this surface runoff of water. The spring, the head of the spring is somewhere in this area here, close to Free Houses Factory. It generates water and it flows to the sea. Some goes to Culpeper Island area, and the bulk goes down through here and disappears into what is known as Brown's Pond. But Brown's Pond is not really a pond. If you actually go and walk in the area and look at it, you'll see it's like a hole in the ground. The water then goes underground and heads to the sea. It gets into the freshwater lens and then gets out to the sea. So back in 1713, well, actually, Mr. Brown, who owned the area down here and gave the name Brown's Pond to Brown's Pond. You'll see Mr. Brown's name down here is John Brown, and it's called Pond's Pond because his son-in-law was Matthew Pond. So if you looked at, let me see if this will work now. Turn off. I need to turn off this now. I need to turn off that. Okay. So if you look, now let me just rotate this so that you can read what is right. We're drawn sort of like crooked, not crooked, but not like how we have. So here is the stream I just showed you coming down towards the Brown's property.
Right.
Okay. So the pond is somewhere in this area. He owned that land. That's how it got its name. Now I'm going to put on the 1722 map, but I have to rotate the map again through 180 because the.
So this is the 1713.
Because
this
Mayo
is the 1713 map, the first one.
Try this here. So 180. This is the 1722 map.
Okay.
So I got to rotate that through 90. Sorry. Beg your pardon. Okay. No, not right. I got to rotate it through minus 90. Sorry. software, minus 90. All right. So if you look now at this map and zoom in, you can see let me see if I get this out right. You can see down at the bottom that here's the bottom of the water course, and it's called Pond's Pond. So Brown's Pond has become Pond's Pond. Okay. This is the stream coming down to Pond's Pond or Brown's Pond. the, it's coming from up here at Three Houses Spring.
Right.
Okay, this is where the actual head of the spring is. It all then flows on over the ground,
Yes.
either to Culpeper or
Uh-huh.
down to Browns or Spawn. Okay, so
Right.
it is not clear from the article where the actual contamination was found. Was it found in the spring up here, or was it found in the water coming down here? Depending on where it's found, you can figure out probably why there was contamination. So let's look at. Let me rotate. Let me turn on now. Um, the I'm going to rotate this now through again through 90 degrees. Sorry about that, because this map now is how we understand it. Okay. Oops, have we got it done? 0, 0. All right. So here is now what the water, and here's where the spring would be, somewhere in this area.
Right.
You notice that there's some surface water runoff from before the spring that gets to the water course. So this is up in the Stewart's Hill area. This would be Mount Pleasant. Out here would be Stewart's Hill is, I think that's about here. Beginning, I'd say this is Mount Pleasant, but also you get something from the Blades Hill area and the Stewart's Hill area, Mount Pleasant as well. So if you were looking for contamination, if you're looking for the source of contamination, it depends on where you found it first. So if you found it here in the spring, it could be that it is sewage from these developments. It could be that somebody's tied a cow in the area and its droppings end up going down the stream. If it isn't in the actual spring and it's further down, then what could it be? So you come along here. This is Golden Grove. So you've got a big pond here. Possible that there might be cows and other animals in this area. But you know that you would have, if you weren't finding it and you only found it afterwards, it would mean that all those sources are eliminated. So let's come down a little bit further and see what we see. Here are what looks like two fowl farms. Here's one, it looks as only one battery, and here's the other one with 3 batteries. Could be that, could be that, but they're only there because the Town and Country Planning has given them permission to be there.
Okay.
I'm sure that there will be regulations that they have to follow to be able to qualify and get certificates of compliance. But these look like there might be good candidates for pollution. So the water then comes down and goes into the Brown Spawn area here.
Right.
Now, you're not supposed to dam the the law from 1713 says you can't dam this flow, or you can't take what you can't do put some sort of contrivance to interfere with the flow. But what the government has done is it's built a pond over here in River Plantation Yard, and it has diverted the water in the pond. And everybody I've spoken to, all the technical people, seem to think this is Brown Spawn, but it isn't. It's this down here. Brown Spawn is down here, and it's not really a pond. It's more like a sinkhole into which the water flows. There's water available in there, So how it was set up was how the act was set up was anybody in the parish could come here and bring their stock, water their stock, get water from it. But obviously that wasn't a very hygienic or sanitary way, because you could easily end up with contamination and serious bacteria, the type of bacteria that kills, like cholera or whatever, in the water. So here you have brown spawn, and it's anywhere upwards, anywhere from, if you read the article, the contamination could have been picked up anywhere back in this direction, anywhere.
Right. And if it's anywhere back in that direction, looking at it, Mr. Knox, I have a question.
Of where the contamination was.
Right. Are you hearing me? I'm not sure if you're hearing me. I was saying that.
I'm hearing you.
Yeah, I'm watching these maps and I'm realizing that anytime we build and there, and where we're not supposed to build, or there's a lot of housing, and you have these kinds of streams and so on, the possibilities, to me seem like there's always a possibility that it can be sewage, that is seeping in. And I'm watching your maps and I'm picking up things as you go along, and it seems that way to me. I don't know, am I right in my assessment?
No, any development should have some sort of a study or something. When you're changing the characteristics of the land is porous, but the contamination that the minister is speaking of occurs in the actual surface runoff. But there's also an underground runoff, and if I were to put on let me see if I can find it. If I were to put on the underground flow lines, right? Can you pick up the dark blue lines, the royal blue lines? What happens is that this is the catchment area that is getting water from as far up as this looks like. Let me see how the roads look. Then I can figure out where it is. This is coming up into Mount Pleasant. This is Stewart's Hill. Hill. So you're getting from Stewart's Hill underground. So what is happening is the spring is fed from the underground catchment of water and flow towards the sea. So when it gets under the cliff, it will spring out of the coral. So here you got a lot of development that could possibly be a problem. May not be, not saying it is, but from this area here, from here on, the water goes that way. The underground flows go that way to the coast. But from, let's see, from this here, from this area here, it's all coming underground, right? So here is where the spring is coming up. So here you've got your underground flow, and it comes to the surface somewhere around here. So you also have to take into consideration all of this land back here to figure out on these developments, to figure out where the contamination is. So if you've got contamination in the actual spring, at the head of the spring, that basically says this is where it's coming from, up in St. Philip and up in St. John almost, maybe down to here. If you've got contamination, this is Golden Grove. If you've got contamination after Golden Grove, then you know that the contamination happens from Golden Grove or before.
Yes.
If you've got contamination at this point, it means that there's a good chance that this full farm may be a problem, but not this, because if you look at how the underground flow goes here, this is tending to take the water down the other way, away from the, pretty shallow. So the wells in this area are not very deep. There are many wells, but what the groundwater, the water is flowing underground, is concentrating itself over on this side of the field, away from the actual pond at River Plantation Yard. Incidentally,
but isn't that a problem?
So this is underground. This is underground water. No, it's actually it's actually a benefit, because most of the water is probably going to be underground. If you were to put a well here, you would more or less, you would get a lot of water. I don't know how much water. I did some rough calculations. Depends on how much catchment area there is, and how much it falls. But I reckon around 1 million gallons a day. Could be up to 1 million gallons a day. But this is actually holding water by that surface water that run off, right? When there's a whole lot of water over here.
Can you tell me why did the government create that pond there?
You can see that freshwater lens.
Yeah, why did the government create the pond?
They did it for to catch the water that was. Why did that? I think the idea was to try and catch the water that was running off on the surface. So, but the problem with a surface pond, is that evaporation. So, but if you actually are taking the water, if there's water here, and a lot of it, and you take the water from here, you can actually keep that pond filled. Maybe that's what they're doing right now. I don't know. But if you go back to the 1940s, 1946, when Sen did his work, these are the wells that existed then. So obviously somebody knew how to figure. They basically went down here looking for water. This, I think, is the best chance of getting that water over here in this area.
Yeah.
If you look at what these various wells were used for, these wells were used to keep shooting swamps functional. So if I were to turn on the 1951 map series here, this is the pond that the government has expanded. It's a depression most of the time. This is the pond that the government has expanded to catch the water from here. But really and truly, they're breaking the law because they're diverting the flow from Brown's Pond. Brown's Pond is down here. That's pretty close, and walk the rest of the way, and you'll see water coming down here all the time. In fact, when I used to hike a lot, one of the hikers who grew up in the area told me that this particular section here was known as the Suez Canal because of the water coming down.
Wow,
there's
so
a
much
hill
water.
Here, he told me was known. Yeah, there's a lot of water. It's constant, right? Because what happens is that it's being caught. It's being caught from a large, I think it's 2,000 acres. It's been caught from all up in some areas of St. John. It's flowing underground. It flows, and then it comes up, and then it comes up. So there's water both overground and underground.
Wow.
This is pretty close to where the seems to say the stream is. But if it were to come into the freshwater lens here, say, you would be having a constant stream of water into here, which would keep this replenished, and you would be pulling out from more or less an underground reservoir, an underground pond. It's not really a pond. It's actually the water is held in the coral, but you'll be pulling from here. You might very well get more water than you can ever imagine getting from this setup, because a lot of the water goes underground. See, if this is a problem, they need to find out exactly where the problem is.
Where the pollution is. So
They
this,
find
all
that
of this
out by finding
water,
out
but
exactly where
Mr. Murray,
where
Mr. Knox, Mr. Knox, my question and comment is that all of this water, I mean, there's so much water I'm hearing about here. This is for the farmers, supposed to be for the farmers in that area, right?
I'm not hearing you.
I was asking if the water.
I'm not hearing you.
Not hearing at all. Anybody? Can you hear me, Mr. Murray? Okay. So
I'm hearing now. I'm hearing now.
Okay, I was saying that the
now.
water, it's a lot of water, both underground and above ground. And so it is for farming, for the purpose of farming. So I live in St. Philip, and I'm thinking I would see all of that land there that's close to the spring. And I know of a gentleman who actually has a little farm there, and everything there is just so big. It's like if he grows squash, it's so big, and he doesn't have to water it or anything. So I'm thinking that must be where he's getting the water supply, the underground water, and also the water that's above ground. But why aren't we seeing more farming along that in that area, if there's so much natural water there?
You see, it's limited by the catchment area. But let's look and see what the farming in the area looks like now. So this is what.
And unfortunately, we have only 7 minutes
in
this sector, in this segment. Only 7 minutes left. Go ahead.
Area now. There is a lot of farming. Sorry, I missed you. I'm not hearing you.
Okay, I was saying that we have 7 minutes left in this segment.
Hello?
We have 7 minutes left in the segment. I think there's a delay. He's stuck.
Last thing I heard was there's a delay.
Okay, I was saying that there's 7 minutes left in this segment.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Knox. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Not hearing.
Right. So that's what I wanted to get across. You've got surface water runoff from the spring, and B, which may or may not be tapped. It was tapped in the past, and it was tapped in the past for shooting swamp. So each one of these here is a shooting swamp. Okay. So you're hearing me okay?
Yes.
I'm not hearing you.
Not hearing.
Okay, good. So, and the other point I want to make is that this is not brown spawn. Brown spawn is in this area here, maybe even these ponds here. So, but definitely here, a lot of it was what was known as the Suez Canal comes out into this area here. This area here is brown spawn, not this
Right.
area. This is a pond and river plantation yard.
Marcia,
Yes.
before Mr.
So
Knox
that's
goes, I hope he can hear me. I'd like to ask him a question. I think he's the best person
yes, I can
to
hear you.
answer. Good. The question of convection rain. Now, when I went to commemorate, from about second form, 1956, 57, a man called Mr. Laddie's Guard taught us about the two types of rainfall in Barbados. So it's relief rain and convection rain. Relief rain is if you have high mountains, the hot air rises, meets the cold surface of the mountain and fall. Convection is when the hot air rises and meets the colder water of the clouds and get with convection rain. That is my understanding. But I've heard the Prime Minister talking about this new phenomenon of convection rain. And as far as I know, you've always had convection. You might be having it now more frequently because of the heat. But am I right in my understanding that you've always mostly had convection rain in Barbados because of topography, etc. And as against just a new phenomenon because of climate change, but climate change has accentuated and accelerated the process? Did you hear me?
I am not a believer in climate change. I think climate goes. Yes, I can hear you. I believe climate goes in cycles.
Right.
So you can get, there's data on rainfall in Barbados going back to, I think, 1847. And you can see that the maximum rain on average that you get is 60 inches a year. The minimum is 40 inches a year. Now, a couple of years ago, I think we had, or last year, we had, no, I think maybe a couple, anyway, very recently we had like under 40 inches of rain, which was a bit unusual. But then we've had 60 inches a year, of rain a year, you know. It all goes in cycles. So I
Yeah,
don't
but could you
know
clarify me?
if I would tell
Is
you I
my
don't
understanding of
really.
convection rain? What causes convection rain?
I can understand what you're saying, that the heat from the earth rises. I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
Right.
he's having some problems there.
Okay. But
He's
we'll leave
having
it for
some.
another time.
If
Yes.
you go to the upper elevations of Barbados, you'll find that's where the most rainfall is. So you've had as much as, I think, 15 inches of rain in 3 days up in the Mount Stepney area. Up on Hamilton's Cliff in 1780, there was a tremendous 1785, there was a tremendous amount of rain and caused a landslide. 1901 was the Mount Stepney, Boscobel area was inundated. So we've had extremely dry years and we've had extremely wet years. In 1951, I believe they had so much rain in February in the dry season, that
Mhm.
there was flooding throughout the island. A lot of the Scotland district was washed out. Crop had to be stopped. Everything was inundated, and that's in February. And that's the only time I've seen like something really unusual happen. That amount of rain in the month of February, 1951. You can look at. I think there's a site that has the Advocate magazine, Advocate newspaper from the 50s. And if you look in 51 in February, you will see an account of what happened in that time. It, the hurricanes that we have had before are dwarf some of the hurricanes that have passed us here. So there's a 1780 hurricane that was tremendous. It destroyed more or less everything. There's the 1831. I think the 1898 was pretty severe too. Janet really was not a huge hurricane, but by the time it passed us, it strengthened and became one of the strongest hurricanes on record. Beryl was also very strong, Ivan. But the real huge hurricanes that we have occurred centuries ago. It's not
Wow.
to say they can't reoccur, but that's why I don't really have much faith in the climate change. People who basically speak of climate change. I think it's more like the weather goes in cycles,
Yes.
and some years it's very wet, some years it's
Mm-hmm.
not so wet.
Mm-hmm. It'd
And
be good to
yes,
have you.
there's
I would love
different
to
types
have
of
you on.
rainfall. I
Uh,
would agree.
I would love to have you on too. I love when you started to talk about the history of these hurricanes. I think it would be great to have you on to go through that because, and I love how you say, oh, you talk about climate change, that it's not unusual. It's cyclical, and I think I like that. We should have a conversation about that. I think that is more, for me at least, I understand that more than to just get up is almost like this new thing that is happening. But what you're saying, what makes sense to me is that it goes in cycles.
Yeah,
And
yes, Marcia. If I may add, in my same physical job, I read about the ice ages, where the earth was covered. Ice is the opposite of what's happening now, and covered all the mountains and valleys that are all over the world. So it goes and comes. So what we're talking about will be followed by something else. Am I right, Mr. Knox?
Yeah,
Okay, he's probably not.
I think there's something called El Nino and La Nina. So
Right.
they're all driven by temperatures in the Pacific Ocean. Now, the sun. If you go and look, if you Google the sunspot activity, you will see that this year it's expected to, or maybe it has already. I haven't looked at it recently, to get a lot worse, much more active. So obviously, if the source of energy is the sun, there's not much, and that is the reason well, drought is occurring.
yeah,
There's not much mankind can do about the sun, except pray to God. He just
correct.
is deluding himself that you can't
It's good to hear
and
it
spending a lot of money
from a
unnecessarily.
professional like
So
yourself
that's
because
my feeling on climate change and
yeah.
climate cycles.
Yeah, but we should have a real discussion
Are you all
about
there?
this, the whole thing of
Yeah.
climate change. And I would love for us to look at all these, those large hurricanes or big hurricanes that we really had. Because as you rightly said, Janet was not a hurricane. But it's good for us to look at the history and to see the number of years and even to look at the Caribbean. I used to love geography, so I guess I'm getting fascinated by all of that. Well, Mr. Knox, is there anything else that you wanted to tell us? I've learned so much tonight. When I pass the Three Houses Spring, I will look at it in a
No,
whole
I think
different way.
that is basically what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Good.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much.
I'd say one thing. The
Yes,
hurricane in 1780. Okay, you're welcome.
the hurricane is what? Repeat,
The
please.
hurricane in 1780 killed
1780.
the hurricane in 1780.
Yes.
If you Google the 1780 hurricane,
Mm.
it killed 22,000 people through the Caribbean and into America. 22,000, right? There's no hurricane, but obviously nobody knew it was coming, and they didn't have the building structures to protect them as they do have now. But that is the size of the hurricane that happened in 1780. That's about 200 and getting up to 250 years ago. No, 250, yeah, about
Hmm.
almost 250 years ago. So it isn't that the weather is suddenly taking a change, and it's just that it's cyclical. That's all.
Just cycle. Wow, very interesting. I wanted to come back with that. with that as well, and we can look at the same thing with
Okay.
earthquakes and so on in the region. But it's a pleasure to have you. I know Mr. What's his name?
Yeah.
Grenville. He says you're the Elon Musk of Barbados. And I love to give people their flowers. And I've learned a lot from you coming on here with your maps. It slows us down, but it's good because you learn something. I know about Brown's Pond that is changed to Pond. I learned about all of that water because I couldn't understand why my friend's farm was doing so well. Now I understand why. And I'm going to share some of this with him. Sometimes he watches the
Okay.
show. But yes, but thank you so much. God bless.
You're welcome. God bless you
Yes,
too. Thank
yes,
you.
yes.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Yes. It's great. I love this kind of thing, and I hope you enjoy it as well. Miss McLean, before we go any further, any comments on hearing how much water the spring, gives off? Isn't that interesting?
I think issues of water supplies that need to be tapped and so on. The only other comment is, and I would differ from you all. You talk about cycles, but perhaps the cycles are indicative of climate change. But we will discuss that at another time.
Yeah, I think he's talking about climate change, but
No,
it's not.
I understand what he's talking about, but I'm also saying that there's climate change, and some of the cycles may be indicative of certain things happening, which would
Right.
which
We should
would
have
which would
a
predict the
robust
cycles.
discussion.
You
We
see,
should
so
bring
they
him on
may,
and have a robust
yeah.
discussion about it. It's interesting. It's rather interesting. Well, we have here with us this man who was on the truck and in St. Lucie, and was one of the voices that we heard, and that voice got bigger and bigger and bigger, and he's a St. Lucie resident, and this is Mr. Mark Baker, and he is on the team that put this motorcade together. So you need to call the Reverend Charles Morris and let him see the people that's behind it. It's not Marcia Week's water. I don't own any water. But it's the initiative of these wonderful people from St. Lucie, Mr. Mark Baker, and also the gentleman who did a lot of the administration to make sure that we have the police permit. So, Miss McLean, for the first time, I didn't have to put my name to get any police permit. It was all
Okay.
done by Mr. Graham Husbands, and I want to welcome them both to the program. Good night, sirs.
Yes, good night. Thanks for having me. I just want to say one thing to Mr. Morris first. I would like to ask him 3 questions. One, if he live in St. Lucie. Two, if he's get funny looking water. And three, who give him the right to speak for the people of St. Lucie. That'll be just the 3 questions I would like to ask him. Moving smartly along. I just want to say thank you to all the people that came out, in the motorcade, for all the people that came out alongside the street to listen to us. I just want to say a big thank you, and to the other members of the team that without you guys we couldn't have done it, and I muchly appreciate it. And I think that I speak for St. Lucie when I say we were very grateful. But I also want to say it is not over. We've only just begun. Because we are not going to stop until we get what we are rightfully due. I honestly believe that if you're paying for a service, you should be given the service that you're paying for. And we were suffering too long. Too long.
Yes.
Like I said, we get different shares of water depending I don't know if it's the moon or the sun or whatever. But like I said today, I'm going to give you a chance to speak now, Graham. Like I said today, all the old pipes get put down together. And I would almost risk the bet that St. Lucie get the pipes last. Because we know it works. St. Lucie get the pipes last. But the rest of old pipes all over the island ain't giving ugly water, only one in St. Lucie. So I think it's more than the pipe. And I think it is about time that Barbados Water Authority come, sit with us, let us know what is going on, and level with us. We're not little children that you can come and just pull the wool over our eyes. You know, let us deal with this as adults. And in the meantime, I am advocating that we either get a reduced bill or a no bill at all, because you can't continue to pay for water that you cannot use. And I will go back to my favorite song today, Maddie Maddie Cry. We can't take it no more.
Yes. That was funny when we heard that one. We heard that song play. Let me get to Mr. Husband. Mr. Husband, I know you weren't on top of the truck, but you were in the motorcade itself. What when you heard your fellow citizens speaking on the microphone and sharing your thoughts and your viewpoint, how did that make you feel?
Well, first of all, good night to you, Marcia. Good night to
You're
Mr.
welcome.
McLean, Miss McLean, and Mr. Murray, and Mark and Caroline, who is also on with us. I want to say that today was a good day in terms of the turnout. People were excited. It is true that some people, the word didn't get around as we would have anticipated, but certainly we covered, I would say, about 90% of St. Lucie today in our drive through. And there were a lot of things that were, it was somewhat revealing out of this exercise. Some people expressed their support and their appreciation for the awareness that we have placed into this drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to thank all the people of St. Lucie and those outside of St. Lucie who donated water and who accompanied us on this motorcade today.
Yes, well, I'm actually here. You saw me here messaging Shaquani, because we don't want to forget her. But I will talk about her a little later. But I join you definitely in thanking those persons who donated, and I know the Young Dems, they donated a lot of water to the cause today through Shaquani Hunt. And we want to really celebrate her, but I hope she's able to jump on. But I watch you at work, and I really admire how you take charge, and I want people to see the faces behind everything that was done today, and how well you guys executed it today, and I want to commend you. But there's also Caroline, who is with us. And Caroline, she apart from the Young Dems, she contacted churches, and she's part of the team, and very strong. I can tell you, she's one of the only female on there from St. Lucie, but really, really, really very strong woman. And how did you feel today, Caroline, when you saw the motorcade that you've been planning come to pass, and people were listening from their verandas or in their homes? How did you feel as a resident of St. Lucie?
Good night, Marcia, and good night to the loyal opposition and the guest speakers on the show tonight. I felt really good when I saw the support of the persons from all over Barbados. You know, they came out to support the motorcade. And it was a really great feeling knowing that you're not alone. I know they don't have the day-to-day experience of living in St. Lucie and going through what we are going through. But, you know, they came and they gave their support. And it was a good feeling. One thing that I would have loved to have responded, or one person I would have loved to have responded to, Voice on the Motorcade, was the lady who said, why are you coming now? We have been going through this for a while. You know, and I would have said to that lady, yes, we have been going through a while. It's almost 5, probably going into 6 years that we have been having this discolored water. But when you hear after 5 years of drinking and using discolored water, when you can hear just a casual announcement on the radio, residents of St. Lucie, you need to boil the water. Marcia, that has been a very traumatic thing for the people in St. Lucie. And I would say to her, you know, yes, we have been going on with it for a while, but after that announcement, there's no way that we can continue to go as normal, because that has set a completely different atmosphere in St. Lucie. That has affected our mental health, and it come from.
Can you explain a little bit more, Caroline, why that announcement? Because you have been going through this, you're saying, for over 6 years. I mean, you know, the real dark water that you were getting, but why, when they said to boil the water, you said that struck a chord, or that was that nail, the last nail in the coffin for you? Why? Can you explain why?
Okay, now we have been, and I want to explain to persons, because I've heard people talking about, oh, we're getting brown water too. Now there's brown water that we have been getting, and everybody in Barbados have been getting all through all over the years, and you get that because of the iron pipes. And you know, when they want flushing or when a pipe goes off, you will get brown water. And that still happens. But this is not brown water. This is discolored water. There is a big difference. And it is a continuous discolored water. So we have been having this water for, you know, about over 5 years now. And you're saying, okay, the water is discolored, and, you know, and you're a little concerned. But, you know, and people say, okay, it's the pipe, and you go along with all these things, although you're saying, but other people have these pipes and they're not getting this. And, you know, you go on with it, and you go on, and even though it's uncomfortable and you don't like it, and people come and say, well, okay, it's going to take 10 years to sort out. And, you know, even though you don't like that either, you know, you go ahead with it. But when you can hear St. Lucie people boil the water, that's true. You know, that strikes a different chord. You are now separated from the remainder of Barbados, because it's now St. Lucie, the residents of St. Lucie.
Right.
You know, so now in your head, it's like, come on. Well, why the residents of St. Lucie? Why are you saying boil the water? We have been drinking this water for 5 years, and now you come to tell us to boil the water. Can you imagine what is going through my head or our heads as to what's wrong with this water that we have been drinking for 5 years? And now you said, boil we have been drinking it for 5 years, and you only know now that we need to boil the water. You only know now that there's something wrong with this water. And what has it been doing to us for 5 years? you know, and that affects our psyche. What is going on? What are the side effects? What have you found? And you know, another thing, you and I will go through some experiences. You get up every morning and you use an electric kettle, all of us don't, to boil water. And soon as the water boils, it clicks out. Only know if you're going to kill bacteria, they will tell you how long to boil water.
Right.
So that electric kettle doesn't boil water for so long. So you're wondering now, Lord, how is it? But this is mental trauma now. Is the water being boiled enough to kill whatever is in the water that nobody has said to us what it is? Nobody has come to us. And I'm saying that after this motorcade, as a matter of fact, this motorcade has been done to say to the relevant authorities, you need to come to the people in St. Lucie. We have real questions. And we have mental issue when it comes to this water. When you bathe with this, you have been bathing with this water, you've been drinking it, it's been on your skin, you've been cooking with it. When you bathe with this water, now all of a sudden you begin to imagine, or is it your imagination, or isn't it that, you know, your skin itching? And I'm saying it is real. You know, when something looks strange on your body, you are wondering, is it the water? Has this come from using this water? So you're in trouble. And I represent the ladies. You notice I'm the only lady on the team. I represent the ladies. We wonder, should we really be using this water? What are they going to come and tell us later on? I mean, we've been drinking it for more than 5 years now. And I believe it's time that research can be done on this throughout St. Lucie, you know, as to the effects, how people are feeling, how people are thinking. And again, I've had an experience, apart from other women saying to me, well, I don't know, this thing like itching me. You get this itching as well. And people are asking, and people are saying these things, but you know, you don't know.
You're saying without us being cross or anything, that some of the females are noticing differences.
Yes.
And
they're asking questions. You know,
wow.
and another thing, a very hurtful, painful thing to me. My granddaughter got into the car one day from school, and she said, "Granny, I am thirsty." You know, I thought that, children, she wanted some kind of drink or something. I thought that's what she was speaking about. But later, when I stopped at one of the community tanks to fill up, and there was no water in the tank, and she was like, I thought I was going to get some. Granny, you're really thirsty. So I said, you mean you didn't get water? She said she had been given a bottle of water to take to school. She had been given $2 to buy water. So the children in St. Lucie are taking school water. They have to buy water at school. And it is not enough because, you know, the days are hot. And she says, Gran, I'm thirsty. And that hurt me. And I know that. I don't know if anybody can get that feeling. But when you hear a child can say, I'm thirsty, in 2024 in Barbados, because she cannot drink the water or did not have enough money left back for the water she needed, it is wrong.
Yes.
It is so wrong. And
it's so good to hear hear from you, the female among us. And I think someone raised that issue a couple weeks ago about females, and you're saying that some of the women are complaining of certain parts of their bodies itching them, and they're not sure what is the reason. They're asking questions. Here it is, a little girl. No, we understand now. We are getting to understand, Mr. Carter, what happens to a child in St. Lucie, what they're, I mean, your parents might give you all of the money in these other areas to buy a drink, but the children have to get money to buy water because they can't go and drink the water just like that. I mean, it gives us a whole different perspective. Mr. Carter, I know you came by and you're also on the team, but you couldn't stay as long. But how does it feel to know that you had quite a number of persons from different parts of Barbados coming to join with you? Did you feel that solidarity?
Good evening to everyone. Thank you for allowing me to come in on the program. Yeah, I think that it speaks volumes that I saw a friend of mine who lives in St. Philip. He was there. I didn't see his wife, but she was probably with him. So that people would travel from all the way from St. Lucie to St. Lucie, from St. Philip to St. Lucie to be part of this endeavor. It speaks volumes. I think that it says to the general public and definitely to the Barbados Water Authority and the government that this is a serious matter that the whole nation is paying attention to and are willing to become involved in the application to get it corrected. I was listening to the last speaker who was commenting on the instruction to boil the water. And I smiled when I first heard that person from the Ministry of Health with that comment. I smiled to myself. I did make a comment about it in another place. You cannot boil rust. You cannot boil rusty water and make it healthy. All that will happen is that at the end of the boiling exercise, the water will still be unhealthy. I made the point that pneumonia caused by rust in water kills about 750,000 people every year worldwide. So this is a major health issue for us in St. Lucie and elsewhere in Barbados, who may be having a similar problem. But there's a major issue for us in St. Lucie, and I don't think the government is paying sufficient attention to it. I could make some other comments, but it is important that the nation as a whole understands that the people in St. Lucie are not just being critical and fretful and miserable. They are faced with a health crisis. Now, other issues have been raised as it pertains to women in particular, but I have a skin problem that has been aggravated by this water situation down here. People have been talking about itching, and that is a major problem for me right now, that my skin is constantly itching me. I've tried every kind of thing. I mean, it has subsided. I have to say it has subsided, but it is still there. It is still a problem for me. So that's an issue. The second thing that concerns me with this water issue is that there seems to be a conflict of information between the water authority officials and the political directorate. And I'm saying political directorate because I heard the representative for St. Lucie say quite recently, maybe last 2 weeks, that the situation, the replacement of the mains is going to be done by, I think, in the next 2 years, within 2 years. I find that very interesting because an official from the Barbados Water Authority was on brass tacks probably about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 6 weeks ago, because I had gone on the program and commented on it, and then I understood that he came on the program the following day, no, the same afternoon, but it wasn't, by then I had gone off the program. But he said that replacing the infrastructure, the water infrastructure in St. Lucie is a 5 to 10 year problem. So it's going to take 5 to 10 years. So when I hear this Minister of Government say that within 2 years it's going to be done, I'm saying, but you obviously know something that this person from this Barbados Water Authority engineer and official doesn't know, because I will have to go and get my notes. Listen, it took 2 years. Listen to me carefully. It took 2 years to replace 1 kilometer of mains down here. Now there are two types. There's the distribution main, which is what comes to us, the consumer. The distribution main comes to the consumer, come through the meter, which measures how much water you use. And then there is I'm going to call the main. I don't know, I can't remember the term that you use. So there are two mains, right, where water comes.
Yes.
So the official said that it took 2 years to replace 1 kilometer. Listen to me carefully, friends. It took 2 years to replace 1 kilometer of mains.
Okay.
And you have 13 to 16 kilometers of mains to do. So if it took 2 years to do 1 kilometer, I don't know how you're going to do 13 plus kilometers in 2 years.
In 2 years. Wow.
The mathematics don't work out to me, right? I mean, I'm no mathematician, but that doesn't make any sense to me. So I said to myself, there is some miscommunication. I mean, I am going to go with the water authority official, because they should know what it is costing them and how long it's taking them to do what they're doing. So when a third person can come and say, oh, well, it's going to take 2 years rather than the 5 to 10 years that this man said, I said, well, you obviously know something near that Barbados Water Authority do not know. So that's a bit of a concern to me. So that's one concern I have. And the other one was where this Minister of Health person could come and say, boil the water. You cannot boil rusty water and make it healthy. I mean, that's ludicrous. I wonder if the person might have been slipping down. Maybe he meant, our brain works so fast that our mouths don't catch up, right? So it may be that he meant to say something else, and that's it. So that's all I can say in that regard.
Yeah.
But those are some of the issues we have here. Now, let me say one more thing before somebody. Let me say one more thing. I have been in my moving around St. Lucie. I've been taking pictures, and I'm taking pictures of the water meter as I pass and see it. So why am I doing this? Now, you have from your water meter, you have this blue distribution line coming in. You have the blue distribution line coming into your water meter. Now, presumably, the blue distribution line will not be contaminated with the water that comes in, right? So let's assume that the blue distribution line, when it comes to your water meter, it comes with clean, healthy, drinkable, portable water.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, so that water is attached to the water meter, which belongs to the Barbados Water Authority. That distribution line is attached to the water meter, which belongs to the Water Authority. Exiting the water meter is your plastic pipe, right?
Yeah.
So we have the blue distribution line coming to the water meter, and the plastic pipe is for the water exiting the water meter.
Mm-hmm.
So listen carefully. And I've taken several pictures of this. If you're going to look at the water meter, it has galvanized pipe fittings taking water from the distribution line and exiting to your plastic conduit. So if the water comes from the distribution line into the water meter, but the water meter is rusty, even if the water was coming, even if the water was coming to your water meter clean, when it hits the water meter, it goes into rusty galvanized pipe. So you still can't get clean water. And as often as I say that, I have not heard anybody from any authority come and say,
right,
we will test it. So that's what they have to do. They have to come and test the water that comes to the water meter, and then test the water leaves the water meter to see what contamination is happening after it leaves the water meter.
yes.
I have made this recommendation to several times to several people related to this water distribution and management, and I have not heard anybody say we're going to do this.
Yeah.
So that's a problem, right? So I'm telling you, I have taken several photographs. I got them on my phone showing that fixture around the water meter is rusty, very bad. Some of them really ugly. So I said I was going to do that. So a third thing though, here's my concern. Now, mains have been replaced. Both the distribution and the main have been replaced in some areas in St. Lucie. But I have not heard, and I've checked this with a number of people, I have not heard a single person say that although the mains in their area have been replaced, that they're getting clean water. Why not? I would think that if you have replaced 10 feet of pipe with clean water, you would come and say, okay, we'll replace 10 feet of pipe with clean water, and the people who are attached to it are getting clean water. Not a single word on that matter. Not a single person, either from the political directorate or the Barbados Water, have come and said they have changed its mains, and this group of people in this area are getting clean water.
Right.
That's what we want to hear.
Yes.
But we have not heard. I have not heard it. Maybe it has been said. So I speak subject correction here.
But the people, there's a gentleman on the road, and he was saying his water. I think he signaled to either Mr. Strickland or to Mr. Baker that his water is still muddy.
Okay, then.
Let me go. I wrote down the three areas that you're most concerned about, and I think that these are very serious concerns, and I want the others from St. Lucie to think about the three areas. One was about the difference between what the politician is saying, the MP for the area is saying, versus what BW is saying in terms of the length of time to fix the issue in terms of the pipes. That is okay. So that is one, and then you spoke about having the pictures, of the rust and where you believe the issue might be, that you would want to be able to show them, and all of you have all of these three areas. And I believe if I heard Mr. Baker well today, right? If I heard Mr. Baker well today, these are some of the questions that you want to pose to BWA when you have your town hall. Before
Absolutely.
I get to Ms. Shaquani Hunt, I want to hear from you, Mr. Baker, because you kept telling the people of St. Lucie that we want to have this town hall meeting with the BWA. Would it be some of these important questions that Mr. Carter is raising that you would want to ask the BWA?
Yes, of course. It is really, really frustrating, and he who feels it knows it. Yeah. For the people of St. Lucie to be going through this thing over and over with no relief, and that is why I believe that someone should come and sit down and talk with us. Let us vent. Let us say what is happening to us. Because when you get up one morning, you turn on your crystal clear water, you're okay. When I was going to school, water had no color, it had no smell, and it had no taste. But that's because the people didn't come to St. Lucie. Because the water that we put got color, got smell, and it has taste. We can't do this. We cannot continue to do this. And what is really, really hurtful, you will find that one or two people that water is not that bad, whether politically affiliated. They start saying, man, the water clean. I getting clean water. I am happy for you if you're getting clean water. I ain't getting clean water. I am certain if I ain't getting clean water, I know for sure Caroline can't be getting clean water because it's get to me before it get to she. So no, on this is a serious thing. This is a serious thing. And for some reason, people believe that we don't have the right to say what we think. We don't have the right to ask the questions, you know. And what is also hurtful, then even civil looks, you know, okay, fellas, let us sit down, let us make a date. And man, I don't care if they hold the town hall on a tamarind tree, on a dunce tree, even on a martingale tree. Come and say something to the people. The people of St. Lucie are not stupid. Don't get the impression because we don't jump up and down every day that we can't jump up and down. We had enough, honestly. Yeah. And I just want to say one last time to Shaquani and your team, thanks again. It was a pleasure to have you. And I'm so happy to see that others from all over the island came out. Today is our day. Be hoping that tomorrow it don't be yours. It might not be water, but it might be something else. And this is not a St. Lucie issue per se. This is a Barbados issue. And the sooner that we can get this in the back of people's heads and get some things happening, the better it is. I thank you.
Yes. You know, I heard the passion in your voice today. I tell you, nobody had to say to you what to say. Both you and Mr. Strickland, you could say, you could tell, you could speak to the people because it is your life. It is your story. There's nobody forcing anything on you. There was not a politician on that truck. No politician touched the mic. Even though you guys were open, if Mr. Thorne was there out of respect for him, you would say Mr. Thorne could speak. But Mr. Thorne was there. He didn't even, present himself to speak. It was so refreshing to hear the citizens speaking, and I'm gonna go to Mr. Husband. Mr. Husband, how important as a citizen of St. Lucie, how important is it that this town hall meeting with the BWA happens? How important is it, sir? Mr. Husbands?
Well, it is extremely important for the people of St. Lucie because, as the three previous speakers said, collectively, we need to have that meeting because there are a number of issues that needs to be addressed by the Barbados Water Authority. Let me say this, and I am going to reiterate it as much as I can.
Yes.
This drive that we have here with respect to this water has nothing to do with politics. Absolutely nothing to do with politics. There are people who want to align this movement with politics. We are not political in this fight. We just want what we deserve, and that is clean, clear water. Having said that, in response to, I don't remember the gentleman's name there that spoke eloquently about the water just now.
Mr. Carter.
Right, Mr. Carter. water trucks are in St. Lucie every day distributing water. You know, those trucks don't fill up in St. Lucie. So, to your argument with respect to the new pipes, they put down new pipes and still brown water flowing through those new pipes. They go to hydrants outside of St. Lucie, get water, and then come to St. Lucie. And I am saying something is fundamentally wrong. The reason for wanting the town hall meeting, and like Mr. Strickland and Mr. Baker said on the truck today, if politicians want to come from wherever, BD, NDP, whoever, they are free to come. But we don't want to hear from politicians in respect of this. We want to hear from the technocrats, the engineers at Barbados Water Authority, to answer the technical questions that we have to pose with respect to this water. We want to know things like, why would, at this late stage, the Ministry of Health telling you to boil water? There has to be a reason why they tell us to boil water. And the point came out earlier about the time for the boiling water. How long do you boil it for? What are they telling us? Why are they telling us to boil water? Is it for reasons of bacteria? Is it for whatever? So there are a lot of technical questions that have to be asked. There are answers that we need from the Barbados Water Authority, and we do not want no politician coming to try to put their political spin in favor of the present administration to fool us, because we will not be fooled when it comes to this issue. We want to hear from the technocrats so that they can tell us exactly what the issues are. Now, you know, it is interesting that we are in this fight today. And while assembling at the St. Lucie Parish Church before the motorcade went off, I saw the MP for St. Lucie passing. Now, he was up and down and taking photographs and all of that. I don't know if those photographs are going to improve the water quality in St. Lucie. If they take those photographs that they are going to improve the quality of water, I applaud him.
What was he taking photograph of the motorcade?
Yes. So I don't know why. And even this afternoon, just before when the motorcade was somewhere in the between Mountgay, Churchill area coming down, he passed again. And somebody told me that he passed there maybe 2 or 3 times and was just driving around. He could have simply come, we would have welcomed him and let him come and help show some of the water that was shared out today.
Correct.
But I am not pleased at his statements to the people of St. Lucie. I didn't expect him to come and say that something can happen magically, but be sympathetic. Come and tell the people of St. Lucie, look, we have a serious issue with the water. Let Water Authority tell us what the issues are and come up with a solution so that we know where we stand. Instead of grandstanding on brass tacks or whatever it was, talking about it is irresponsible for people to not pay their water bills. I think the irresponsible act is for he, and by extension the government, not coming to the people in St. Lucie and telling us exactly what is what. And certainly, let me say this, any town hall meeting that we have, do not expect the people in St. Lucie dealing with this water issue that we are going to submit questions before the town hall meeting start for people to vet questions. We're not going to be subjected to that. Our sole aim is water and proper water for St. Lucie. And the questions that we have to ask with respect to that has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with, one, the MP saying that it would take 2 years. Two, the engineers at Barbados Water Authority saying something different, 5 to 10 years, as stated by Mr. Carter. And the other sets of stories that we are hearing that do not add up. Those questions are the questions that we have to ask the technical people at Barbados Water Authority as it relates to the water in St. Lucie. So we will not be going down no political line, no political questions. The questions will be about water for the people of St. Lucie. That's it. You're muted, Marcia. You're muted.
Yes, I was saying, no, this is a serious team of people that I've been working with for the last couple of weeks. And I will say this is the first initiative that I can tell you that I did not have to put up my name to the police, to get a permit. They were on the ball. They were working. There's a strong team of people. And this next step, not my initiative. And I'm happy about that, Ms. McLean. It means that the citizens themselves are rising up. I heard Mr. Strickland, who I hope he can join us and give us the final word tonight. Mr. Strickland kept saying, or is it, I can't remember, Mr. Baker, keeps saying, we have value. The people in St. Lucie, we have value. We understand our value. And that was so heartening to hear. Now we have Shaquani Hunt, a young woman that, been working relentlessly for St. Lucie. Shaquani, you were there today. You saw that so many people needed more water, right? You've done such an amazing job. Shaquani, I want to commend you and the Young Dems. There was water given not just from the Young Dems, but from Praise Academy School, as well as the loyal opposition. People brought water to Caswell that were not from the Dems. So the water came from all over Barbados.
Marcia, the water was from everywhere. Everywhere. All types of people. They saw my number on the on the flyer. They called me. They told me, I have donations for you. Can you send somebody to collect? And I made arrangements for somebody to collect. I must say I didn't get to collect all the water, but what we will do as the weeks go on, we will still continue to collect and keep there. What I will say, it is not enough. It is not enough because we're getting no assistance from the government and they can do more. Yes, they can't fix the water issue immediately, but they can help with some relief where they can also buy some cases of water to donate to the community. It is not enough that they're not doing anything. The truck is one step. That is just one step to the problem. They could lend more assistance to the community. The same way how we're purchasing water, we're rallying around people, we're asking for donations. They could do that if they don't have the funds. It is not impossible. It is not rocket science. It's very simple. They did it before when they had the water issue in St. John. I remember they did a campaign as well, and they also distributed water. I remember when in that time period, we sent water overseas as well. And I said, how can we send water overseas when so many people here in Barbados and St. John don't have water? So if they could have done it back then, they can do it again. It is not very difficult to do a water drive campaign. The first step is recognizing that you need it and just start asking people for donations, either water, cases of water, or even the gallon bottles that they can fill up. Because as you can see, a lot of people came up with their containers. I don't know if you realize when we were passing, people came up with empty containers and held them up. So they were showing you that there was no water. And it hurts your heart because we don't have enough. We don't have enough, and we can't give a household 5 cases. We're just trying to assist as much as we can with taking on some of the burden. But I will say it's extremely difficult because when you get into an area and you have no more water, we're just looking at them with blank faces, just telling them we will try to assist you next time.
So
So I feel
your next time is going to, is it oh, the next time that you're going to do this will be when? Because I know
what we
some
will
people from
do.
St. Lucie might be listening, especially those that were so disappointed. What do you think? What's the time frame you think,
What
Shakwani?
we will do, we will communicate with the team from St. Lucie, but I do recommend we do it every 2 weeks to give people time to save up money. Even though we're not asking for a large number of donations, we still understand that currently the climate in Barbados is very hard and people don't have a lot to give. But what I suggested to people, even $5 can assist because they're gallon, the empty gallon bottles. I think we purchased those for like between one something to $3, and those could be filled up as well, and they can also keep the bottles.
Mm-hmm.
So every little bit counts, and don't feel like your money or the water that you're donated isn't good enough. We're not going to judge you because when we get out there, it doesn't matter to them. They're so thankful, they're looking for more. We don't have any more to give.
Yes, they are. I saw this. I was walking in my development, and someone said to me, turned and said, I think he said, "Are you Marcia?" Or I don't remember what happened, but he says, "I hear your voice and I listen to the show." And I said to him, "Are you coming to St. Lucie?" He says, "I can't come." I said, "Well, give me some water." And this morning I was able to go. He didn't buy the water, but he gave me $50, and we were able to stop and buy some water, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm agreeing with you, every little bit counts. And so
It
you're going
counts.
to they will keep hearing us, Shakwani, on the show asking for water. And so in the next 2 weeks or so,
Yeah.
you're going to be back out there again, and we will be able to probably say the areas that we're going to. Would that
Yes.
be it?
Well, yes. What we can do is that we can communicate with the St. Lucie team that they didn't motorcade because they know who is most impacted and maybe schedule it based on where the water truck didn't go at that time because they know the water truck is on a schedule and some people go 2 and 3 days without getting a truck.
I
So,
just want to say one thing quick before you go.
of course.
I want people to also understand that there are elderly people that can't get to the tank.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And those people depend on when they turn on the pipe to get clean water. So you've got situations where you've got two elderly people in the house, and it is because of the kind of loving nature that we still have in St. Lucie that some person younger would go and get water for those people.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
you're asking them people to pay a water bill.
Well,
That
this
can't.
way, I don't know if you realize, but a lot of the water tanks are up a hill. I don't know why, but a lot of them you always have to end up walking up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And walking up the hill is easy when the containers are empty. But think about when you got to travel back down, the weight of it, sometimes it's difficult. Like Mark said, I know of many times we went into the area where older people can't even lift the cases inside. We sometimes have to go in the houses and actually put them in an area where they can easily access them. So people in the community, they will say, well, this person doesn't walk, they can't lift something, put it closer to the door, or they may call the person and sometimes we may put it through the window to be more accommodating. Because he's saying older people, but we encounter pregnant people who couldn't lift anything, having only small children in the household, and we had to take cases on the inside for her. We even encountered a time period where we shared out water, and a grandmother was had a small container of water wiping down a child because the child had a fever and they didn't have any water.
Wow.
She was so grateful, and it was so heartbreaking when you saw that tiny child being damped down and thinking about it like we don't have to worry about this because we have water home. So the water that she got from the truck, she was trying to save it in a way where that she would have enough water because the child had a fever for more than one day. And she was like, how we would do, normally we would take the child in the shower and stay in the shower with them. But because now the water is brown, they're not showering the same way. She had a small container with a towel just wetting her down. And we never even consider people that may be sick who can't use that unclean water, who would need access to fresh water. and how it would impact their livelihood or their lifestyle. But that is something that is really impacting people as well.
Yes.
I think they need to put themselves in their shoes. Imagine you go to Parliament and the water in the jug is brown. What will you do? Will you ask them if they boiled it first, or will you drink without question? So if you wouldn't do it for yourself, why would you ask the members of society to do the same thing when you're not even attempting to do it? We've never seen the MP from St. Lucie drinking brown water. Because if he was drinking and cooking and bathing and washing his clothes with it, I think the people in the community might be a little bit more understanding, because they will say, man, he's feeling the burden, he's trying, maybe we can try this a little bit harder. But you're not being impacted by it or not feeling it. And then you're telling them, oh, you could do this. How? It is not the same. So if you're not living at the same standard, why are you expecting them to do that and then telling them that, oh, they're being too complacent, or implying that they should continue to pay for service that they don't get? I think he's been a little bit unreasonable.
Yes. Thank you so much. Very well said, Shakwani, and painting a different picture. It's so interesting. You hear the women, how the women speak about it, versus how the men speak about it. And I know it's 10 o'clock. We're going to go another 5 minutes extra tonight, because this is very, very important. I know Mr. Strickland, I really wanted him to come in. I don't have my microphone and all of that set up because we were rushing to get here. My the telephone set up, but his devices, Mr. Strickland, if you're listening, your devices are not connected. Okay, so I removed Mr. Murray from the studio because we had too many people in the studio. And so that Mr. Strickland, his devices are on. Wonderful. Let me just let him come in here and have the final say. Hi, good night, Mr. Strickland.
Good night to those on the panel. I I guess I've never been more proud of being a resident of St. Lucie till this afternoon. Unfortunately, I could not continue in that I had a church meeting at 5:30. Um, to hear that the representative, sorry, was up and down St. Lucie this evening, I think is one of the worst things that I could have heard. Honest truth, because um, you're almost trying to spy on us. You're spying on us as individuals. This is not just about residents in St. Lucie doing what is their constitutional right. You are spying on me. And as much as I would have indicated this evening that we are demanding a town hall meeting with the Barbados Water Authority, our next step and my next suggestion for step will be a press conference. Because even though we may not have a certain amount of confidence in some of the media houses in in Barbados, this is going to put the media houses in Barbados on the spot. This may very well prove once and for all how political, how gutless some of the media houses in Barbados are. Because the Barbados Water Authority is a government agency. It's not a political organization, it's a government agency. And I believe that for all citizens of Barbados, every government agency has a responsibility to act. I spent almost 40 years of my life working in a government agency, and we served irrespective of color, class, political affiliation. So therefore, Marcia, and for those on this show tonight, I am really appreciative of all of those who came out, especially Mark, who spoke on the truck, and those that were in the motorcade. Our hats go off to the Barbados Police Service for their support in what we did this evening. And I don't know if they've ever happened, I'm not certain, but because this motorcade took in the entire of St. Lucie, and we are talking about maybe the third or fourth largest parish in Barbados, this was a tremendous undertaking by the residents of St. Lucie without any political overtones, without any political involvement, and we are capable of going forward with the support of the residents of St. Lucie to make sure we get what is justly ours. So thanks, Marcia, and for all of those who came this evening, and God continue to bless St. Lucie.
Wow. Very, very, very well said. Very well said. And I know I said you have the last word, but I saw Miss McLean there. I know she's seething. And so I want to, Miss McLean, are you stuck? You're still there.
Marcia, before Miss McLean goes,
Yes, Caroline.
Before Miss McLean goes, I would like to say this, because in Barbados, we hear a lot of people being fearful. And I want to declare and decree that there shall be no retaliation, no victimization, no intimidation, or no false accusations against this team in St. Lucie, because we are standing for our right, and we call on a righteous God to hear our cause. Thank you.
Wow, powerful. Thank you, Caroline. I love this team. Listen, they're fiery. They are fiery. Miss McLean, is she still there? Okay, I think she's gone. But let me see if I can get Mr. Murray in quickly. Mr. Murray, open your microphone. Both of them having trouble. Oops. Okay, try again, Mr. Murray. Yes, go right ahead.
That's it. Yeah, I just wanted to say that there's some things you heard said in history that stick with you. In the French Revolution of 1789, Marie Antoinette, when told that the people were hungry, he said, "Mange la merde, let them eat cake," but she really meant let them eat feces, right? That kind of indifference, cold hardness, lack of empathy comes through with this water situation in St. Lucie. I'm completely befuddled that a so-called responsible government and organization, or MP, could take this almost hands-off, nonchalant attitude towards the situation. This is an emergency, should be treated as such. And to tell people boil the water, or to be told to them, it's almost as bad as very carry that is systematic of the government. When people complain that the price of gasoline was too high, and it still is, he said, drive less. It's the same attitude, indifferent, uncaring, unsympathetic being demonstrated towards the people of St. Lucie. And I'm really personally disappointed in Peter Phillips, whom I used to have a lot of regard for. He was a very active community man for years. I think that is what helped him to win the seat. But no, there's a totally different person. But apart from that, I think that you have to do, it's hard to a press conference, but I think you have to do something dramatic to capture the attention of the public and the government and the BWA. I will speak to Marcia about that for you. I have an idea.
Yes.
All right?
Thank you.
Right. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Murray.
Keep the fight up. Don't back off me. Don't back off with the cybercrime, etc. And you should not back off with it, because we are all with you.
Excellent. And he's only 18 years old. All right. Okay. Let's have Miss McLean. And she's about 17. But go ahead. Let's hear from her and give us your final word.
You said that I'm about 70. That's all right. No problem. That's
17. 17.
But it's closer to 70. Don't worry. No, but I quickly want to reinforce something that Mr. Husband said, because I think it is important that we hear from the people who run the water authority, the engineers, whoever, because they know what the problems are. On this program, we've heard several possible explanations. And clearly, when we start to add up 2 and 2, for example, the point that was made that trucks don't fill up in St. Lucie. If the water was okay at the reservoir, at the source, and it was the pipes, then you go to the source and bring it in the trucks. If they're not doing that, there's a reason why. And so they need to hear and say, look, this is the problem. We have to make some drastic changes and explain what has to happen. And I think from listening to all that we've had over the last several weeks and talking to different professionals, as far as I am concerned, part of what they may have to do is to put a halt to the sources and find a way of rerouting water, because it is not only rusty pipes. I mean, from what you're hearing, if it were that the case, you would say, okay, we can't push the water through at point A to point B. We have to go from C, from A to C or A to D or whatever. So I think that call on the people to come clean, and no pun intended, come and tell people exactly what the problems are, how difficult it may be to resolve the problems, but what has to be done. And my word to I was going to leave the partisan politics alone, but Mr. Phillips, the whole attitude of keeping files on people is totally inappropriate in this instance. That is what that is about. Taking photographs to see who are the people present. I've been around Marcy, not 17, but close to 70 years. And I know how people behave sometimes when they want to be partisan political. And I choose my words, partisan political, being, because these are political issues, because they're all part of government decisions and whatever, and impacting people. But that nonsense, not solving the problem, but running around, and I can use another P word, pimping behind people, is nonsense. Go and help deliver water.
They were taking my picture. I know they took my picture, Mr. Husbands and everybody. I was right there on the truck, and I look quite cute. So you can go and show them my picture. You want this side? What side you want? What do you want to do? But take my picture. Oh yeah, take my picture. I love it. but let me just say, listen, we're not afraid of none of that. You could take picture till the camera mash up. We will have as many motorcades, and we will set up and we will pause for you. You understand me? St. Lucie, we're not backing down. Tell them to come and take the pictures, and we will pause. Okay? Because we're not afraid and we're not frightened. All right? So we want to thank all the members of the loyal opposition. Those of you who came out, those of you who sent money, those who brought food to share with others. People brought food and shared with me and with others that you knew that they didn't get a chance to cook. Thank you all, to every single one of you. We are a family, and they're not going to break that. They're not going to change that. They come for one. They come for the people in St. Lucie. They're taking their picture. They're going to take all of our pictures because we're just cute like that, right? It's all of us involved. So I want to thank you all. I want to thank Miss McLean, who I called on the way, said, Miss McLean, jump on for me and start the program. And she was willing. Thank you so much. And Dr. Ferdinand, I know we called him first, but he was sleeping. If he was up, he would have jumped on as well. But thanks to everybody. Dave, thank you so much for being Dave is such an encouragement and wanted to get me here on time. For the driver, Adrian, who drove, but he didn't break any laws. He made sure I got home to St. Philip on time. Thanks to every single one of you for your support and your encouragement and love to the people of St. Lucie. God bless you all, and you're going to hear more from us, because them not afraid and them not frightened. Yeah? When we lose our fear, they lose their power. All right. Wonderful. Thank you all so very much. God bless you. And over to Dave. I know he has something to play for us. Over to
Good
him.
night.
Oh, he's not in. Okay, no music tonight. If you check the chat, St. Lucy, before you go, check the private chat. Mr. John Knox stayed on tonight so he could give you some notes. So look in the chat and read, and you can even take pictures of it and see if there are any ideas in there. Mr. Knox is a good person to have around. He is one of those professionals that's sticking his neck out. Okay, so go ahead and read what he's saying there. Okay, God bless you all. Love you all. Bye bye. Way to go, St. Lucy. That's it. Keep the fire under the tail.